Although, who knows this year, because there's just so much snow. We're so glad you're here. We're joining us this morning. We know you've got many, many choices to make, and we're super grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. So thank you very much. Tapping is clapping. Liking is loving. Sharing is caring. You know the drill. There's a gifting goal today. Please consider participating in that. Please join our team. Complete your daily tasks. That helps us stay and get to the FYP. Appreciate that. If you wouldn't mind, we are, again, crowdfunded here. We are marching towards our 25K goal for the Do Something Tour. We are, $145 away from 3K, which would be great. Want to participate there. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all at Factsstillmatter. We are in the process of developing a GoFundMe, a little bit easier for us to track donations so you can see real-time totals. Although, if you go to the link tree that's in my bio, you'll see the link to the Instagram page, which is the Do Something Tour. We update contributions and donations there. There's also some we'll post updates there about planning. We're still on the hunt for a keynote tour sponsored by X, whatever. Definitely not X, but you get the point. Anyway, thank you for being here, guys. Appreciate it. While you're also in the link tree, check out the link to the Discord. The Discord is kind of like our little family. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we really appreciate it. There's all kinds of information in there. There's resources on mental health. There's resources on if your pets are in crisis. There's mutual aid. It's just part of our community. It's kind of like the hub of what we do here. So thank you for that. We appreciate you. Also, last plug for the merch store. Head on over there. You'll find some really cool new items as well. If you're interested in picking up some swag, head on over there, check it out, and let us know what you think of the items there. Or if you have an idea for something else that might be interesting to you want to adorn yourself with. So thank you. Appreciate you guys. All right. So a few things I want to cover off on today. I just, obviously this has been just an interesting experience. I don't know what you want to call it, but it just reminds us every single day that we are indeed fighting for humanity, because we are at day 69 of the Department of Justice breaking the law in violation of the release of the Epstein Transparency Act. So at this point in time, what is there to say? I compiled some information for you guys to kind of go through the list of people around the world who've either resigned or been fired or stepped down themselves or been arrested. So that list is growing, right? It's getting a little bit longer. And I guess other countries, other industries around the world are sort of attempting to try to hold people accountable. Obviously, it's not happening here. And I still see defenders. We talk about credible evidence. I'm going to give you a report from the New York Times this morning. Going to follow up on the reporting that NPR did about the obvious corruption connected to withholding information. Part of the muzzle velocity of information, the Department of Justice. This is their category, their tactic. I know there is President Clinton will be testifying today. That's behind closed doors, so I would imagine we'll get some transcript information tomorrow. Mods, can you guys confirm the time on that for me, and maybe we can be following that? I think I want to say it's at 10 o'clock, but I'm not sure. Anyway, point is that we're still in this place where people are attempting to defend all this. We've got mountains and mountains and mountains of credible evidence. People stepping down based on their connections, people being arrested, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but apparently not here. So we'll get into that a little bit today. I think where I want to start is with that list, because it's growing. And it's important that we not, ever forget this, because other countries around the world, maybe through Interpol or other investigative agencies or intelligence communities, maybe they're the ones they're going to expose all this, because I have a feeling there's more than one copy of the information that the federal government is withholding, and I do watch a lot of people defending it, and I'm starting to put some, connect some dots in my head. In particular, you'll see a lot of men defending this, and you wonder if it's because perhaps they have been involved in certain things. Who knows? I said this yesterday, and you're going to be remembered at this moment, right? You're going to be remembered in this moment. Are you on the side of believing survivors and believing victims of these crimes and believing women in general? Or are you not? Or are you going to continue to perpetuate the bullshit? And that's why it is a fight for humanity. So we'll talk about that. But here's the list. I got this from a combination of places, the Department of Justice, also from Politico and from Reuters. Oh, thank you. That's cool. Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let me just check here real quick. Okay. This is the list of people that have been either arrested, resigned, moved to a different position, whatever that might be. Obviously, Ghislaine and Jeffrey. Jean-Luc Brunel, detained and arrested in December of 2020 by French authorities. An Epstein-linked investigation, later lost his life in custody in 2022. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, arrested February the 19th on suspicion of misconduct in public office tied to newly released records, released without charges while investigation continues, per the reporting from Reuters. Again, first time a royal has been arrested in nearly 400 years. Peter Mandelson, arrested just a couple days ago on suspicion of misconduct in public office tied to the newly released files, released on bail, per reporting. Larry Summers. Actually, why don't I pause right there real quick, and I can play the sound, because this is someone who's now been, I'm not going to say held responsible, but at least he's been, here's the sound. This is reporting from CNN.
The former Treasury Secretary and Harvard president is retiring from the Ivy League school at the end of the academic year. Summers described the retirement as a, quote, difficult decision, and it's one that comes amid scrutiny over the famous...
I'm sorry, the retirement was a difficult decision, Larry? Really?
Economist ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Documents released in recent months revealed that Summers had years of personal correspondence with Epstein. Summers previously said he was, quote, deeply ashamed by his relationship with Epstein. In addition to retiring, Summers has resigned from a key position at the Harvard Kennedy School. Harvard said it accepted his resignation in connection with the ongoing review by the university of documents related to Epstein. And the university says Summers will remain on leave until his retirement.
It was a difficult decision, Larry? Okay. Yeah, exactly, Tay. Resignation, not justice. Okay, so back to our list. Larry Summers. Richard Axel, Columbia University Institute Leadership, resigned as co-director amid revelations about ties in the newly released records. It's Borge. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it. Bjorge Brende, Brende, World Economic Forum CEO, resigned after scrutiny and an internal review related to Epstein links in the new releases. Brad Karp, Paul Weiss chairman, resigned as chairman following scrutiny over emails appearing in the released records. Kathy Rumler, Goldman Sachs chief legal officer and general counsel, resigned after released documents showed gifts, correspondence, flirty texts, and related scrutiny. Thomas Pritzker, Hyatt executive chairman, stepped down, citing terrible judgment in maintaining ties after the document disclosures. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that particular quote. Terrible judgment. You know how we mentioned yesterday about how this is just one big gaslight attempt to desensitize all this stuff? Terrible judgment to be associated and affiliated and connected in any way with one of the world's largest sex traffickers and child predators? It's terrible judgment. Terrible judgment would have been me having a fourth slice of pizza. That would be terrible judgment. This is just fucking bullshit. It's not justice. And I'm glad Tay made that comment. And disclosures, NDAs, cash settlements, civil settlements, that's not justice. That's not justice. I mean, it's not terrible judgment to maintain a relationship with the world's leading predator. A guy that had already been convicted once and convicted twice, correspondence, emails, financial ties. That's not terrible judgment. That's who you are. 4 slices of pizza felt personal. Sorry, but I think I made my point. Jesus Christ. Miroslav, Slovakian National Security Advisor, resigned after disclosures in the release files denied any wrongdoing. Of course, terrible judgment. Got it. Jack Lang, Arab World Institute president, former French culture minister, resigned after revelations and official scrutiny in France. David A. Ross, School of Visual Arts in New York City, MFA program chair, Master of Fine Arts program chair, resigned after released emails and resulting backlash. Nicole Junkerman, Royal Marsden Cancer Charity trustee, resigned, stepped back from trustee role following revelations about the relationship and reported ties to the release files. Martin Nowak from Harvard, placed on administrative leave pending investigations into connections, an example of removed and or suspended from duties rather than resignation. Terrible judgment. Okay. So listen, the names that I read on that list does not mean that they are, how do I want to say this? It does not mean that all of them are connected to crimes against children. But, I should say, and their resignation and or their removable position says a lot about how the rest of the world and the rest and other institutions are taking this seriously. But our government does not. Our country does not. I'm going to give you some examples later this morning on countries that are run by women. Iceland and Namibia in particular. And I've heard of these we all know about Scandinavian countries and democratic socialism and why they're just better. But I learned so much about the country of Namibia this morning or last night doing some of this research. So we'll talk about that. Accountability for everyone. Systems that prop up men in particular are the ones that are being used to take advantage of the most vulnerable. And what do? We just turn a blind eye, right? We just excuse it. That is my single biggest concern now, is that this is becoming normalized. Because people are saying, the president's saying, I've been exonerated, or well, it's not credible evidence. These are just allegations. Everybody, then if that is the case, if they're all just allegations, then why are so many people resigning? Why are so many people losing their positions? Why are other intelligence agencies and law enforcement around the world investigating these crimes? Why? Thank you, Jennifer. We absolutely cannot normalize this. It is by design. Again, this muzzle velocity of information is designed to desensitize people. Well, I think we should move on from the Jeffrey files. Aren't there more important things we should talk about? Like, the cold Big Macs and French fries that the U.S. Olympic men's hockey team got at the White House? Like, that's important. The dozens of lies the president told during the State of the Union address, that should be important. You cannot normalize. We cannot be desensitized to this shit. We can't. So we're going to continue to talk about it. I know it's not easy to do. And again, I'm like, hundreds of lies. It's really, really important that we continue to talk about this. I do want to start the show today with some good news. Because I think I'm going to do better at making sure that we cover some good news every single day. Trans man jumps in frigid lake and saves baby from drowning. Quote, I wasn't going to let that baby die. I hope she has a really cool future, and I'm happy I was there. 30-year-old trans man Leo Cundiff has been hailed as a hero for jumping into Chicago's frigid Lake, Michigan to save a baby whose stroller was blown into the water by a strong gust of wind. Cundiff recounted hearing the mother scream and then observing her being frozen in shock. So I just jumped in, he told Chicago Tribune. My only thing was, quote, you got to get this baby out of here. If she's going down, I'll go down with her. But the goal is to get both of us up. Cundiff told ABC 7 Chicago that the mother was clearly too panicked to do anything. I was like, I guess I'm jumping in. I wasn't going to let that baby die. That's crazy. He held on to the stroller in which the 8-month-old girl was strapped while treading water for several minutes. He said the pair went under a few times, but they were ultimately helped up the ladder to safety and transported to hospitals in separate ambulances. Both are reportedly in good condition. I'm just glad the stroller was not face down, Cundiff said, speaking to ABC from his hospital bed. The baby dipped under a couple times, but I was able to keep her up, and she was breathing and crying when we got her out. I hope she has a really cool future, and I'm happy I was there, Cundiff said. I'm so happy that this baby has a chance for a future and a life. Cundiff's mom, Karen Cundiff, told the Tribune, I'm so glad both he and the baby are okay because both of them could have died. Cundiff has also defended the mother, who has reportedly been criticized for causing the accident due to alleged carelessness. When you almost lose your kid like that, you don't need the world judging you too, especially when it wasn't anything on purpose. There was no neglect or anything like that. It was just a freak accident. Kunduf is a comedian and performs across the city. He described his sense of humor as darker and said his harrowing experience may come up in his future sets. His best friend also started a GoFundMe for his medical expenses and lost wages, calling him a true hero. He's always been the first to make others laugh and lend a helping hand. The fundraiser states, and now he needs our support more than ever. In an interview with The Guardian, Kunduf said he hopes the moment emphasizes that trans people are just human beings, because all I did was a human act. We are human, and we're the same as everyone else, and we don't deserve the hate that we've gotten. No notes. I'm so glad I found that story. I am so glad I found that story. I am going to try to track down, or we will try to track down that GoFundMe, and we will put it in the link tree if anybody wants to donate. The last paragraph. Kunduf said he hopes the moment emphasizes that trans people are just human beings because all I did was a human act. We are human and we're the same as everyone else, and we don't deserve the hate that we've gotten. Preach. Meanwhile, our president of the president of the United States takes every opportunity he can to diminish every marginalized communities, in particular the trans community. So, we are all humans. That's a shirt. So I'm glad we got to talk about that story. Oh, good morning.
Hi. This song kind of seems scripted now.
No, it's all good. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, that was really cool to open my phone to. I can't lie. Made my day, and my day just started. So
should make all of our days, right?
Yeah, for sure. I just opened my phone because last night I had to make a really bummer post, man. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I have unfortunately a platform on this app for being trans. I wish I could just be a dude making silly content like back in the old days, and that'd be awesome. But unfortunately, my platform grew because a year ago, come August 29th, I will have been out of the military for a year and unemployed after 13 years of active duty for being trans. I was very close to E7. I had orders to a dream assignment, and I was in leadership, and I was about to go to a shirt school, like first sergeant, to go help people. And I was a healthcare provider. So like a very niche job that there's only 450 of us. The point is I was a healer, not the one with the pew-pew. I say all that because now you know why I'm relevant to be speaking. But that's not what I wanted to tell you. For anybody who hasn't heard, in fact, it would be really, really awesome if you didn't leave this live to go do this. But after you leave this live, when Steve's done, because everything he has to say is very important, if you could head to my page and go like one of my most recent videos, just push it out. My content has been heavily suppressed. Heavily suppressed. I can't even, I'm having a hard time breaking 500 views. I have 70,000 followers and I've never had an issue with the 1,000K at least. I can't even break like 500 right now. And it makes sense as to why, because I've been vocal about this since before I got kicked out. They know exactly who I am. They know who I am. And that's fine because my videos have taken off. They've been viral across all social media, but not because right-wing people have found them and just monetized off of them, and it's fine. Y'all are really very kind. Thank you for the gifts. I do appreciate you, but I wanted to talk about Kansas really quick.
Sure.
As of yesterday was the 26th, I believe, or maybe it's today. I'm losing track of my days. Yeah, so as of today, it is now... So like overnight last night, essentially they invalidated anybody who has had their gender marker updated. They just invalidated everybody's license. Like overnight, no warning. And after the mayor or the governor had vetoed this bill, they passed it overnight anyways. And now We know because all of the like trans creators across all the social media platforms have been sharing the letters that the residents of Kansas are getting in the mail already that are saying if you have a license, it's immediately invalid as of today. And you need to surrender it. It needs to be updated. And now what that means is they're in the same boat as I am, where my license is expired because I'm in a red state. I'm in Texas. So my license is expired because it's illegal for me to even pee in public. So it's like they're slowly, they took a service member, 13. I just want to put the humanness to it, right? They took a 13-year service member. I was minding my own damn business. Granted, I'm glad I'm out because now I can speak a lot louder. But and now I am not going to get into the depths, the weeds of what I'm going through. But we're fighting for our lives, and we don't have a lot of voices. We do not have. We are one of the tiniest. And then if you consider like where the intersectionality lies, like consider that Black, brown, and indigenous trans people are the most marginalized on top of it. So it's frustrating because we are all definitely still fighting. I see all my brothers, sisters, those that are neither fighting. We're in this fight, and it's sad that we just don't have a lot of voices. So every time I join a live like this, I didn't plan to come in, and you're already talking about it, and you're sharing like a positive story. Like I didn't have to sit here and hear somebody just talking about how like terrible and horrendous we are or debate our existence. All I got to hear was just like that nice story about one of my brothers, and to hear his words afterwards, like I hadn't heard that story yet, dude. That makes me feel so good. And that is how you can help us. Genuinely, just at this point, just telling people we're good people. Just having our backs. Just being willing to be that one person that when the conversation goes there, stand up for us. If you can. I'm not asking anybody to put themselves in harm's way if you are a marginalized person by any means. But if you have that privilege, if you can help us, talk about this stuff. And if you know people that are trans, please ask them. At this point, I need you to like reach out and ask people if they have emergency plans. If you aren't already doing that with people, you should have already been doing that, but not just with trans people. Please reach out and just make sure that people aren't like secretly going through the trenches and thinking that they have nobody there. Community is the most important thing that we have to offer each other right now. It's how we're going to get through this. And it's how we are getting through this actively. It's how we're turning cities historically red into blue. We are making moves. We have the internet at our fingertips, and we didn't used to have that. So that's my words of motivation. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you. Thanks for talking about us in a kind way. Baby, stop. I'm sorry. You can hear my dog itching.
I can. Yeah. As a dog owner, mine's probably licking my feet or something. Yeah. It's a pupper. Is that a Doberman?
No, she's just tilting her head funny, but she's a shepherd mix. I'm not sure what she's mixed with because she has tiny feet. So I literally call her Littlefoot. I'm a 90s baby.
I don't want to put you on the spot right now, Eli, but think about something that this community right here is incredible. So just think about something that we might be able to do for you, even if it's just a day of joy, a day of leisure, something along those lines. Okay. And then reach back out. You can either message me or join our Discord. I think you're in our Discord. I thought I saw you in there. Maybe not. If not, consider joining. Think about that and let us do the honor of showing up for you.
You know, I've had quite a few communities. First, thank you. I've had quite a few communities, and I'm going to tell you, I am the most reluctant to accept help. I am the worst, and I'm realizing.
Tell me about it. I get it. Trust me. That's why I'm doing it, right? That's why I'm doing it.
I know that's what everybody keeps. And this keeps happening, and I get like so nervous because I'm not, bro. It puts me in the most like. I get so awkward every time because, yeah, no, I'm used to, yeah. like GT did it to me. Like a few creators have like done it to me when I'm just trying to like chat, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond to it, and I get really awkward, and I'm so sorry that that's my like visceral reaction.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
I get it. Our expression is take your flowers. So Eli, take your damn flowers. Let us show up for you. All right. Think about that. Just think about what that would look like. Just a day to, just like you said, just to be human, not have to worry about fighting off the arrows. Allow people who see you to be kind and to be generous and to have your back. How about that?
I don't honestly know what that looks like. I don't know. I can't even picture it. I have no idea. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way.
I got you.
Don't know it even. All I can, this is going to sound so cheesy. All I can think of is just like, my partner. I just miss my partner. Or like, well, that's like the first place my brain went. It's something as simple as that.
Okay.
But yeah.
We can probably figure that out.
Oh, I want to say really quick before I hop down, because I need to try to clean something. But there's been a lot of family members that have reached out to me over the last couple of years. I know I'm saying this because I just saw a comment. There's been a lot of family members that maybe your kids or your nieces or your nephews or somebody who you're either protecting from this app or the internet, or somebody who's too afraid, they can't handle it to go on there, whatever the reason. I just want to tell you thank you. If you've like ever sent me a DM or you've ever sent me a comment or you're in the comments right now and you don't feel acknowledged, it's the weirdest feeling in the world not being able to like respond to everybody who's saying hi to me. I hate it. I love all of the people that support me. It's super, super strange to just be this face and not get to actually like, I'm sure Steve feels this way. It's like I just want you to know that there are people who DM me with the most beautiful stories, and if you are protecting a child right now, thank you. If you are in the interest of protecting the kids right now, dude, thank you, because what we're learning about how we have just horrifically done the kids wrong, man. At the end of the day, like, come on, they're the most innocent. Like we owe them. So to everybody who is looking out for them, and you're in my DMs or you're in my comments or whatever, just telling me about those stories, thanks for keeping them safe. It means the world to me, because it's a lot of us adults didn't get that childhood, and that's why we won't stop fighting. But yeah, thank you for letting me be a cheeseball real quick.
We got you. So, by the way, I've learned that Eli Official 13 is Eli's Venmo. That's Eli Official 13. I would ask anybody who's considering donating to us today for the Do Something Tour to not, please, and consider donating to Eli. Again, it's Eli Official 13. We'll post it in our chat. We'll post it in the Discord, and we're going to show up for you. Okay, that's just how it's going to go. I always say to people, when you're part of our community, we are like gum on your shoe. You ain't getting rid of us.
I know, because like I had a handful of people telling me persistently to reach out to you for like over a month now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're finally here. Took you long enough. I'm kidding.
I'm telling you, I don't mean it. I don't do it on purpose. It's hard, but yeah. Thank you for everything, dude. And it genuinely just happens chance. Just you came across my For You page, and I was like, oh, every now and then I'll just hop in. I'll listen to you for a few minutes. Maybe I'll throw you some taps, and then I'll hop out because I gotta take it in little doses. But that was genuinely so pleasant. And just so y'all know, like, it's that simple. It is that simple, because sharing that story just like, all right, like I'm back. I'm in the fight. Like I see you, brother. Like I feel you. Yeah. So just like, thank you. I appreciate you, and everybody who's saying some really kind things.
We got you again. Yeah. Eli Official 13. Again, if you guys are considering donating to us today for the Do Something Tour, please don't, and please direct those funds directly to our beautiful human friend Eli. We appreciate you, friend. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Somebody just said, I just responded to one person. That's pretty much how you have to do it. They said, take your effing flowers, Eli.
Yeah, it's true. Take your fucking flowers, bro. Take your flowers. Damn it. That's how this works.
Aggressive love.
Listen, here's the thing. Everybody knows this. People know this about me. If I can take mine, you can take yours. Deal?
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely
Okay.
say that to other people all the time, so that's valid.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
I usually do it with like compliments and stuff, so.
I hear that. I get it. But again, the universe has a way of showing up at times, and you just happen to be scrolling through, and we're talking about good news, and here you are, and getting the love, and maybe, your day starts off a little bit better. Maybe your coffee tastes a little sweeter. Maybe the air's got a bit of a nice crisp to it, and you can be like, you know what? There's a community that really loves me, and we do. So there you go.
I owe y'all like something organized though. Like I can't keep having y'all just like, I mean, I can. Y'all are so kind. I'm seeing Venmos come across like my screen. Like I just saw one from Linda. I really appreciate y'all. I do owe y'all something. Like that is thank you, Kelly.
You don't owe us. You don't owe us a thing, Eli. The only thing you owe us is to take your flowers. That's it. That's it. You don't owe us anything. Take your flowers. You can do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Truly. Again, it's Eli Official 13. That is the Venmo. We got you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Hey man, keep your head up. You're doing great things, and I hope every day you see it. At least one thing that shows you like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. Because I know it's hard to stay in that fight.
This is why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, you deserve to feel. If you feel good about it, this is what keeps us going. Man. I appreciate you. Thank you. I guess it's my turn to be in the vulnerable seat because, I mean, whatever force you believe in out there knows we're all taking turns sitting in the boiling water, and one of us is just experiencing the heat at a little higher temperature than the other.
Listen, as I've gotten older, I cry at coffee commercials now. So, I appreciate vulnerability and honesty and things like that. And this is a space for it. I'm serious. It's not a lie. I'm serious. Keeping it together for 4 hours every day is not easy.
It's true.
But I wouldn't have it any other way.
I've had to like step back because I feel bad because I can't like, there comes a certain point where you have to like know your limit. And yeah, like I only show people one side of me online. It's just like silly, goofy, or very, very soft and sweet. And like, unless I'm talking to, somebody I can crash out on, but
sure.
But it's like, that's it. And you don't see what everybody else sees when they turn their cameras off, and we only see the little blips into their lives. And like, it's really, really easy to forget that everybody online is a human being, minus the bots. If we don't slow down and just like internalize that for a second. And it's really refreshing when you see people that you can tell do that they don't forget. But yeah, reminder, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to step back if you need to. I'm living proof that if you just don't stop, you will burn out, you will crash, and you're going to need a lot more time to recover than if you would have taken your regular breaks and let people give you your flowers. So I'm trying. I'm trying.
Less trying, more doing. But we got you. We got you.
Yeah.
Keep us posted, okay?
You.
And again,
I will.
Come back anytime. We love you, friend, okay?
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And thank you, everybody.
Talk to you later. All right. Bye, Eli.
See ya.
What a great way to start our day. There you go. This is what... This is what we're fighting for. We have to, we... Just give me a second. I'll be right. This is, who's playing the coffee commercial? Really, exactly right. This is what we're fighting for. Yes, we're a news show. Yes, we're social commentary. Of course. Yes, we're out here calling truth to power, and we will hold people accountable. But this is what we're fighting for. You can put a face to it, right? You can put Eli's face to what we're fighting for. Just respect and decency and humanity and kindness and generosity and love and compassion and understanding and empathy and what else? I mean, what else should matter? Just these conversations that we overhear or that we're part of, for those of us who are, hardcore empaths, we always joke about forming an island of empaths. We wouldn't get anything done, but we certainly would take care of each other, right? That's what this feels like. Although we get a lot of shit done because there are people in our community that have been touched by these stories. I saw that story come across my desk, as they say, and I'm like, what a great story. And lo and behold, just out of the universe working the way that the universe does, Eli happens to be scrolling through. Here's us talking about the story, and look what happened, right? And look what happened. Look at the impact that we just made. Knowing, first of all, again, I still see you in here, Eli. You are now. It's almost like an order that you're to take your flowers. Like I said, if I can, and I struggle with them, that's true. I do struggle with taking mine and working on it, but getting better. Thanks to you all. You must now take your flowers because there's people here that see you. Thank you for doing that, Sam. People here that see you. People here that love you. People here that care about you. And you have become the face of your community, whether you like that or not. So when people start talking about how we approach humanity and who it is that we're fighting for, we can now see you. We can now see you. And I just love this community so damn much. Okay. I just need a quick break.
End up leaning. You don't need a cape just to help someone win. Do something simple, do something true. Make a sandwich for a friend, hold the door for someone too. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Check on your neighbor, share what you can do. One small action turns into a wave. Do something today, be the change that you crave. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Facts still matter, it starts with you.
It's good to feel real, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel good to feel real, right? Just to feel like just real, like I never know what to expect. Like my process, just so you guys know, I get this idea for topics, and then my wingman is my entire mod team. Legend does our backgrounds. I just send him an idea, like this thought that pops into my head, and he comes up with these great backgrounds, and he doesn't get enough credit. A veteran, a father, an amazing husband, busts his ass to support his community, and he does our backgrounds for us every single day, and this idea manifests. Then I kind of build content around it. I've got probably 7 hours of content that I could tap into every single day, but these conversations make an agenda just irrelevant. just absolutely irrelevant, just because this again is what we fight for, right? So this is what we fight for. This is what we do. This is why, whether it's the Do Something tour or just reminding people about, make a sandwich for a friend, shovel a driveway, help a neighbor in need, show up for people that you don't know, that you'll never know again, that you may never meet ever. This is the point, right? This is the point. And we talk about this community, the good and the bad, the TikTok space, but without this app, I'm not usually tongue-tied. Without this app, without this community that we've invested our time and resources into, we may not have ever met Eli. Likely, there's no way. I would never know somebody like Eli or Brett Cross or others, or the amazing people that I've met. To be allowed into some communities that I would not normally be allowed into just because of proximity. I live in a very white state. There's no doubt about it. But this is the beauty of what we do here. So thank you, Eli, for being vulnerable. Take your fucking flowers. You have no choice now because we'll hunt you down. That's how it works. We have a team. We have a team that will hunt you down to make you take your flowers. So thank you again. Eli Official 13 is Eli's Venmo. Thank you, friends. Again, if you are considering joining or donating to the Do Something tour today, I would ask you to not. And then any resources or any financial contributions you'd like to make, please do that instead. Just our way of showing Eli that we will show up for you, friend. So appreciate you being here. Okay. Whew, man. All right. What a great way to start the show. God damn it. I love this place. That story again, I found it on LGBTQ Nation. I'll put it in the Discord. If it's not already in there, I don't even know. I'm just so blown away. And then our mods will post it in the general chat if you guys want to follow along. Okay. Where do I go next? We do have to cover some news regarding, because we are here to make sure that we are providing the voices of survivors as best we can. So we do have to kind of get into some things as the morning progresses. But actually, before I do that, I've got some guests that want to come up. Alicia, good morning. How are you today?
Surviving. I loved Eli's story and him coming forward, and I can vouch that they will hunt you down, so take your flowers. And even though I couldn't do very much, I did send him $4 that I had in my account because my youngest, who's 15, is a queen amongst, and he goes by he. So if Eli ever needs someone to talk to that's just going to be full of love, just consider me part of your family as well.
Thank you for that, Alicia. Thank you.
But yeah, so for those that don't know, my husband is a detainee, and Steve and the Facts team have hunted me down several times, along with Jess and all of them. We go to court again on Monday, and we are looking for another 4 to 6 weeks that he's going to be in there. He is sick right now. He has some problems going on with his health from where he is. But I did get to see him yesterday. I got to see him through a Zoom call through his lawyer. He got to pop me the I love you up. And so we're still in the fight. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this team and this platform that you guys use is absolutely wonderful and powerful. And I thank you guys.
Thank you, friend, for saying that. I appreciate you very much for being here, and we got your back too. We got a lot of room, but thank you for telling your story. I appreciate you coming up and also for your kindness. I know you're going through a lot, and your kindness and your generosity and your support for Eli as well, and that means a lot. I appreciate you, Elisa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You got it. Have a good day. Man, oh man, this is fucking awesome. I just love this community so damn much. I really do. I can't even tell you how much you guys have no idea. I talk about it like, Smart Chat on TikTok. You literally have no idea how much this community means to me. It's wild. Gotta love it. Mama 76, how are you today? Mama, are you there? That might have been an accident. My apologies. You got me, Grandma. You ain't getting rid of me. I'm literally gum on all your shoes. So that's how it goes. you have no choice now. You have no choice. That's it. You're stuck with all of us, indirectly or directly. Hey, Drew.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I just wanted to thank you for that story. I was out and about driving around this morning, taking a dog to get fixed this morning, and I was listening, and what a story. I mean, I want to point out some irony just really fast, okay?
Sure.
If you listen to the current president of the United States and all his cronies and conservatives, folks like the men you mentioned, folks like Eli, folks like Laney, they're the real danger. They're the dangerous, scary people, right? But here's the irony. And excuse me if you think I'm speaking out of turn, or if you think I don't want to speak for another community, but I can almost guarantee you that if a predator was discovered within their community, folks like Eli and Laney would be the very first ones to point it out and to hold them accountable. Because that's the irony right here. And that's where we're at, is that you've got these folks that are constantly preaching about how dangerous certain individuals are, while the entire time they're the predators themselves. They're the sharks in the water. They're the ones that are getting caught every day with their pants down. I just wanted to point that out, because I'm listening to that, and I'm listening to the beautiful soul like Eli has. We listen to these stories, and we have such wonderful people in our family here that for whatever reason face this hatred every day, and it doesn't need to happen, because we know who they are, we know what their hearts are, and that's what matters. So everybody keep fighting. Steve, just keep being a voice for folks, because I want to remind everybody that, in Germany, the Jewish population was like 0.0, I don't know if it was 0.007 or 0.07, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was low. So don't think that because that community is so small that it's kind of an irrelevant conversation. It's relevant. Because if they can go after folks like Eli, if they can go after folks like Laney, they can go after you. And they can go after the other people that you love. Okay?
First they came for.
Not to be, the first they came for, exactly, at the front of our attention, because we need to understand that we have to fight for those folks. We have to stand up with them, because if we don't, we're just as responsible as the folks who are trying to hold them down. And that's all I got to say, Steve.
Appreciate you, Drew. Thanks for being here, brother. Have a good day. Be safe out there. It's a good point. And just to kind of close this particular loop here, Eli literally fought for us. Like literally fought for us. Continues to fight for us every single day. And we as a society just don't fight for members of their community. We just don't. We just don't show up in general. Black women fight for us every fucking day, and we rarely, if ever, show up for them. Marginalized communities in our country constantly under threat every single day. Every day. And sometimes many of us just can't be bothered. We can put faces to names. We can put faces to the plight. Eli's face. All the amazing Black queens who join us in our space. The disabled community. Every marginalized community across the board. They show up for us. Can't we at least try to show up for them? I hope so. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point? We are Eli. That's it. All right. I think I've got. I won't have a lot of patience for anybody who wants to just become just antagonistic this morning and spread your hatred. So if that is your game, please just don't even bother. I'm just not interested. I've got a lot of patience, but I'm not today. So we are Eli. I love that. All right. I do want to talk about there's a hearing yesterday for a new Surgeon General. Their name is, let's see. Her name is Dr. Casey Means. She was born in 1987. MD from Stanford University School of Medicine. Profession, a wellness. This is from her Wikipedia page. Wellness entrepreneur, author, and former surgical resident. Nominee awaiting Senate confirmation to be the Surgeon General. She earned a medical degree at Stanford and began as an ENT, ears, nose, and throat doc, and for surgical residency. Left a residency before completing it and shifted toward preventative and functional medicine approaches. Co-founded Levels, a metabolic health technology company, and co-authored the book Good Energy about chronic disease and metabolism. Has worked as a health entrepreneur and wellness advocate rather than a practicing physician in recent years. Nominated by President Trump in May of last year after an earlier nominee had withdrawn. Closely associated with Health Secretary RFK. Great. Her public health focus emphasis is on preventing chronic disease, improving diet and metabolic health, and then reducing reliance on reactive medical treatment. Senators and medical experts have raised concerns about lack of board certification and an inactive or expired medical license. This is the top doctor in our country, or supposed to be. Limited formal public health leadership experience, vaccine statements reviewed as hesitant or unclear in confirmation hearings, and I'll play that sound for you in just a moment, and then financial ties to wellness companies and product endorsements. Well, that doesn't sound like any conflict of interest at all, does it? Nah, nothing to see here. It's totally fine. So I'm first going to start with Tim Kaine, because Tim Kaine was grilling her pretty hard. And these are just listen for the answer. The questions seem pretty obvious to me, which has become status quo for either nominees for cabinet positions and or other legislative and judicial or executive positions, and or Pam Bondi just flat out fucking lying, and then every other member of the cabinet. So we see you, but this is Tim Kaine.
Set the quote aside. I'll introduce for the record an article, CBS News. RFK Jr. says it may be better if fewer children receive the flu vaccine, dated January 7, 2026.
Without objection.
Let me set aside the quote and set aside Secretary Kennedy and set aside the article. Do you believe that there is evidence that the flu vaccine prevents serious disease and prevents hospitalization or deaths in children?
I believe that all patients should talk to their doctors.
And so do I. And that's not what I'm asking you. Your qualifications have been much discussed. There is a mountain of evidence about this. Do you believe that there's no evidence that the flu vaccine has efficacy in reducing serious injury or hospitalization? This is an easy one, doctor.
I mean, again, you're going to be, you're being, Jesus, there's a confirmation hearing for you to be the Surgeon General. It's a simple fucking question. It's a simple question. The reason you don't want to answer it is because it would immediately prove that you are not fucking qualified for this position. Period. Jesus.
This is an easy one.
I support the CDC's guidance on the flu vaccine, and I will always be working with the CDC, ACIP, and the agency.
So you believe that it is an efficacious vaccine to reduce hospitalization? And
is or is not?
Is. You believe it is?
As I said, I support the CDC's guidance on the flu vaccine.
Let me just say, do you think the flu vaccine reduces the risk of hospitalization or serious injury?
I've said
you're a doctor.
I believe vaccines save lives. I
The
believe
flu vaccine.
A public health strategy.
The flu vaccine, does it reduce the risk of injury or hospitalization?
At the population level, I certainly think that it does.
Let me introduce for the record, if I can, Mr. Chair, CDC seasonal flu vaccine effectiveness studies dated May 30, 2025 from the CDC that goes into this in some detail.
Without objection.
This is not a hard question.
I answered your question.
I know it. After,
at a population level, I think
you did. 3 minutes in, you answered a question that has a very simple yes, or it had a very simple no to the proposition stated by the secretary that there is no evidence The secretary said there is no evidence that this is effective. And yes, after 3 minutes, you acknowledge that at a population level,
I haven't seen that report. I have not seen.
Yeah, but you know about the flu vaccine.
If I had a nickel for every time I was misquoted in the media, I'd be a very wealthy woman. I would like to understand what his comments are.
I'm not asking you about the quote. I'm asking you about something in your remit, the effectiveness of the flu vaccine.
I mean, are you kidding me? So you guys know we talk about this a lot, and because you're the smartest chat on TikTok, you understand this. That is the script that they use. I was misquoted. It was rag journalism. Those are salacious claims, anonymous sources, because they can't stand on their credentials. It's a simple question. Are you going to be, if you're going to be the Surgeon General, the nation's top physician, and by the way, your license is currently suspended. Why? You can't answer a simple question about efficacies of vaccines? Be careful talking about that. We love the TikTok shop. I mean, come on. Really? Really? Okay. Tim Kaine, a Democrat. I don't think is Tim Kaine a doctor? I don't think Tim Kaine's a doctor, but Bill Cassidy is. Bill Cassidy is a physician. Bill Cassidy is a Republican from Louisiana. Bill Cassidy had some very specific questions for RFK Jr. And that motherfucker, this guy, Bill Cassidy, there was hope that he might not approve him for the confirmation. Because if he didn't, he may not have gotten approved to be the HHS secretary. But he did it anyways. So how does Bill Cassidy address the same witness, Dr. Casey Means, during his portion of the questioning? Well, let's take a listen, shall we?
Children die from measles in West Texas. We now have an outbreak of like 1,000 children almost in South Carolina area. You're a mom. We're on the verge of losing our measles elimination status. Would you encourage other mothers to have their children vaccinated against measles with the MMR vaccine?
Like you, I'm a physician. I believe vaccines save lives. I believe vaccines are a key part of any infectious disease public health strategy. And I would work with you, the CDC, then I.
But would you encourage mothers to vaccinate their children with the vaccine, seeing how we've had children die and this outbreak in South Carolina?
Simple question. You are or want to be the top doc in all the land. It's a simple question. Would you encourage mothers to vaccinate your kids against measles, MR? What is it? Mumps, measles, rubella, right? Would you do that? It's a simple fucking question. My God.
I'm supportive of vaccination. I do believe that each patient, mother, or parent needs to have a conversation with their pediatrician about any medication they're putting in their body or their children's bodies.
You're the nation's doctor. Would you encourage her to have her child vaccinated?
I'm not an individual's doctor, and every individual needs to talk to their doctor before putting a medication in their body. I absolutely am supportive of the measles vaccine, and I do believe vaccines save lives and are an important part of the public health strategy.
We've had a tough flu season this year.
Unreal.
Would you, as past surgeon generals have, encourage Americans to get vaccinated with the flu vaccine?
At the risk of sounding repetitive, I do think it's very important as a physician and to rebuild trust in public health to make sure that patients are encouraged to have informed consent with their doctor before getting any medication. I believe vaccines save lives. I believe they're an important part of public health. I also do not want to not encourage patients to have a conversation with their doctor. I think it's incredibly important, and informed consent is going to be part of building trust in public health.
So the answer is no. I mean, what? You're right, Dano. This is so fucking harmful. It's a simple question. You know, you could have taken the path and just said, yes, I would. Those would be my recommendations, because everybody else in cabinet positions, is the Surgeon General a cabinet position? I don't know. No, it wouldn't be, because it would report to the HHS. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Anyway, everybody else lies. Why didn't you just lie? Because your non-answer is very telling, right? I mean, come on. What's wrong with what? RDL. I don't. What's wrong with her answer? Her answer was a non-answer. Like, that's the point. We are fighting for humanity. We are talking about children. We have a measles outbreak in our country because of our HHS secretary. I mean, what the fuck? Just again, as a reminder about her, she is a Stanford-trained physician and a health entrepreneur known for promoting preventative and metabolic health. President Trump's nominee for U.S. Surgeon General, but her confirmation is still pending. Financial ties to wellness companies and product endorsements. The Daily Beast reported on this. A Maha influencer that Donald Trump has picked to be America's top doctor has come under fire for failing to disclose her financial relationship with various wellness companies that she was promoting. You think? Wow. Casey Means, a Make America Healthy Again mom who dropped out of her surgical residency and holds an expired medical license, has been nominated by the president to be the nation's next Surgeon General. There you go. Hold on, let me see if I can continue this story. Do I have to? I might have to pay for this real quick, guys. Hang on a second. No, it gave me a freebie. Good. But Means, whose brother Callie is an advisor to Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., faced a Senate grilling yesterday over her qualifications, vaccine skepticism, and conflict of interest concerns involving companies that she gets paid to promote. In one particularly testy exchange, the 38-year-old raw milk advocate was cornered by Democratic Senator Chris Murphy about her involvement in a prenatal vitamin called WeNatal. In a blog post from September 24th of 2024, Means noted that she had, quote, no financial relationship to the company, was just a big fan. In another blog post dated October the 29th, she promoted WeNatal under a header that said, quote, not sponsored, just love these. However, whenever there's a however, it usually doesn't end well. However, records show that as early as March of 2024, she had been using affiliate links to WeNatal in her newsletter and posting TikTok videos tagged as paid partnership. Quote, so you weren't telling the truth when you said you were just a fan. You were actually receiving money, correct? Murphy said. Quote, if there is any post where I said I'm not receiving money, I had not been receiving money at that time. Come on. But you had received partnership fees for this particular prenatal vitamin. In fact, prior to September and October, you had posted partnership links in which you get compensated based on click-throughs. Correct, Murphy Prester? Quote, I'm happy to look at whatever documentation you're talking about, but I do not. It's incorrect, and it's a false representation, she replied. Murphy then presented her other examples of failed disclosures in an apparent violation of the Fair Trade Commission rules. Among them was her own lab testing platform, Function Health, where documents suggest Means disclosed her sponsorship agreement less than a third of the time she promoted the company on her website and social media platforms. Murphy raised similar concerns about Genova Diagnostics, a home testing company that Means promoted on her platform 9 times, but disclosed the company's sponsorship only twice. Daily Harvest, where she disclosed sponsorship in only 3 of the 14 posts recommending that product, and Zen Basil Seeds, where a partnership was disclosed 2 out of the 13 times that Means recommended the products. Quote, this seems systemic. It seems that in the majority of instances in which you were, as medical professional, recommending a product, you were hiding the fact that you had a financial partnership, Murphy said. Quote, our focus has to be on restoring trust in the medical profession, and yet over and over again, you seem to be at scale recommending products without telling your followers. You have 200,000 newsletter subscribers, you have almost 1 million Instagram followers, and in only 3 out of 14 times on Daily Harvest, when you were promoting Daily Harvest, you disclosed that you're getting paid by them. Means, looking more rattled than she had for much of the hearing, then sought to blame Murphy's staff for selective use of data. This is the Pam Bondi testimony. I'm not going to answer the questions. I'm just going to talk about the stock market, and I'm going to yell at elected officials. Quote, it sounds like you have a lot to say about this issue, and I would be very interested to see how your staff looked at this data, she said. I have a strong feeling that the way in which they gather this information is done intentionally to create these claims that you're making. Notice that she's not denying it, right? Notice that she's not denying any of these claims. She's just trying to cast aspersions on someone else. I want people to think about this for a second. The people that are leading our public health, Director of Homeland Security, or DHS, HHS Secretary RFK, Dr. Oz, and now potentially this person are all fucking grifters. Every fucking one. They are setting public health policy in our country, and they're all fucking grifters. Period. That's it. They're grifters. So again, instead of answering the question, you just say, well, your staff, it's salacious, it's anonymous sources. Means is a controversial pick for the Surgeon General role, which is responsible for disseminating the latest public health guidance, while supporters praise her advocacy for whole foods, disease prevention research, and institutional accountability. Others are highly critical. She dropped out of her surgical residency, is not board certified in any specialty, holds an expired medical license, and has no public health background whatsoever outside of promoting scientifically unsupported disease remedies in her newsletter. Her only apparent qualification for the job of Surgeon General is her willingness to promote RFK Jr.'s disinformation and quackery. In 2024, she also co-authored the book Good Energy with her older brother, Callie. In it, they argue metabolic health is the key to reversing chronic illness, which critics say verges on pseudoscience. If appointed, Means would be America's first MAHA doctor, despite concerns about her skepticism towards vaccines. I believe that parents want to have good faith conversations without shame from their doctors about vaccines, and that we need to move toward a medical culture where that's possible. Shaughnessy Naughton, the president of health advocacy group 314 Action, urged the Senate to reject her confirmation. Quote, Casey Means is a medical residency dropout and a grifter. The Senate must not confirm this unqualified, unlicensed, and conflicted quack to be our nation's top doctor. If you live in Louisiana and Bill Cassidy is your senator, 202-224-3121. Again, 202-224-3121. That is a congressional switchboard. Ask for Dr. You don't even have to be from Louisiana, but again, call his office and say, the fuck? You fucked up with RFK. Are you going to fuck up worse with this clown? She's a fucking quack. Listen, I fully support the parents making decisions, but public health policy to not address vaccines is fucking dangerous and harmful, and it will unnecessarily cost lives. 202-224-3121. Do yourself a solid. We are Eli. Call those fucking cowards today and tell them absolutely not. Is this person going to be confirmed as public health secretary or Surgeon General? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Unbelievable. We are living this shit, and people are just like, oh yeah, don't forget. The MAHA message has also infiltrated its way into Medicare for all. Because what you see from a lot of the Philbros and a lot of the fucking alphas, which are, first of all, anybody who refers to themselves as an alpha, just like any dudes who talk about the size of their wrench, have a tiny wrench, same thing applies. They think they're invulnerable. They think they are they think that they're Iron Man. So they're being told they don't have to follow the rules, they just have to eat healthy. Sure, we all should eat healthy. If I have to choose between the grains and lean protein over Funyuns, that's a tough decision. You know what I mean. We all want to eat healthy, but that's not the only answer. Public health is public health. We have to be able to look at the science and say, these things work. This policy works. These are the results, instead of just leaving it up to everybody else. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. It's just dangerous. And it's just 202-224-3121. Yeah, make food affordable. Exactly. Make healthy food affordable again. So just again, the conflict of interest is so obvious. Right? Just do better. Anyway. All right. Let's since we're on some good news, I want to play some sound. This I have to find out who this creator is. I think her name is Sherry's in Abundance, and she does this series on highlighting women around the world and in leadership positions. So I'm going to play a couple little sound bites from her. Then we're going to talk about it a little bit more. She's going to talk now about the country of Namibia in Africa. Here you go.
When men run the world. Here's what happened when women did. We're talking about Namibia, the first country in the world where every top leader is a woman. President, vice president, prime minister, speaker of parliament. And this is what happens when women lead a nation. Maternal deaths dropped by nearly 80%. 95% of girls now finish primary school, closing the gender gap in education. Public programs expanded rural clinics and health access across the country. New laws boosted women's access to land, jobs, and small business loans. And perhaps most powerful, young people now grow up seeing women in leadership, changing how future generations view power. So what if the U.S. followed Namibia's lead? Would we be better off? Let me know in the comments.
It's funny watching the trolls scroll by this morning. Sounds like a train wreck. Sounds like a disaster. You guys, you alphas in the chat, you alphas, you are so terrified of women. I don't know if it's hate. Probably. But you are terrified. What you don't understand is that your society would be better because humanity would be prioritized. Right? Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? It's going to take white people to advocate for a matriarchy, and it's likely not going to happen in my lifetime. You see, Popcorn? It went right over your head, didn't it, Popcorn? Hey, host, why didn't Dem stand for the Gold Star, Mom? There's your hate right there, isn't it? We're not talking about that now, are we, Popcorn? We're talking about this, how the world should be better. Why didn't the president address the survivors of the Epstein files, Popcorn? Want to answer that question? Yeah, why don't you answer that? Until then, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares what you have to say. No one gives a shit. That's the country of Namibia. All right? I've got another one for you. This is the country of Iceland, of which I'm a huge fan of their politics. Katrín, I'm going to screw this up. I'm not even going to try. Katrín and then a bunch of letters that normally don't go together. She was the prime minister of Iceland between 2017 and 2024, served as the PM, one of the longest continuous terms in modern Icelandic politics, led a broad coalition across left and right-wing parties, including her left-green movement and conservative partners, an unusual alliance. The coalition provided unusual stability after decades of scandals, frequent elections, and fallout from the 2008 financial crisis. During that time, it was run by dudes. Katrín comes in, settles shit down, gets parties cooperating, and guess what Iceland is? It's always identified as one of the best places to live in the world. Introduced 39 national well-being indicators covering health, education, environment, and social conditions, not just GDP. This framework was designed, this is from the Iceland Review. This framework was designed to guide budgeting and policy making based on broader measures of national prosperity. It positioned Iceland among global leaders using well-being economics. Her government approved major long-term public spending plans, including funding for a new national hospital in Reykjavik and healthcare improvements, expanded transportation and infrastructure investments, plan to connect 99% of households to high-speed fiber broadband, policies to include extended parental leave, improve disability benefits, reduce income taxes modestly, strengthen public services and digital infrastructure, led Iceland through major crises. During her tenure, she navigated volcanic eruptions, inflation and economic challenges, became one of Iceland's most internationally recognized progressive leaders, led during a period when Iceland consistently ranked among the world's top countries for gender equality. Her coalition governed continuously for 7 years, rare in Iceland's fragmented political system. The prime minister is the legislator, is the governing. And then in Iceland, they also have a president who's more of like a figurehead, much like, they don't really serve governmental functions. By the way, the president is also a woman. The new prime minister, also a woman. This is how Iceland ranks globally. Let's see here. Got this. Here's the list. One of the safest countries on earth, ranked #1 on the Global Peace Index, extremely low violent crime rate, police do not routinely carry firearms, and very low corruption. Quality of life is among the world's highest. Life expectancy, 83 years. Like it's like 7 or 8 years longer than here. Top 3 globally in the World Happiness Index. Air and water quality among the cleanest in the world. Work-life balance, shorter work weeks, generous vacation times. Universal access to health care. Education, including free public universities, parental leave among the most generous globally, disability and unemployment benefits, median income is high by global standards, strong union protects workers, smaller gaps between the rich and the poor compared to the U.S., clean renewable energy, mostly geothermal and hydro, minimal pollution, easy access to wilderness, mountains, glaciers, oceans. Where the fuck do I sign up? I get it, Heather. Yeah, it makes us sad because we hear how good they have it. But this is what's possible. These are the kinds of things that are possible. It just takes a shift in our country's priorities. This is why I hammer on leftists, because these are the things that are possible, but we can't do it unless you guys understand that when the time comes, you've got to prioritize harm reduction. You have to. You have no choice. If we get there, we can do these things. These things are possible. There just needs to be a commitment. And then ask yourself this. Allow yourself to fantasize about it. Allow yourself to imagine what a country with all the resources that the U.S. has, right? All the financial power, all the financial might, all the innovative power, right? Imagine what that would look like if we prioritize the things that we should. Expansion of rights. Make America great, meaning the best education system on earth, the best healthcare system on earth, the best infrastructure, the best social programs. These are things worth fighting for. If you truly want to be the greatest nation on earth, you're not going to get there by spending $1 trillion on your military, or in Trump's mind, $1.5 trillion. It's not going to happen. You've got to invest in your people. The reason that these countries do score so highly on the happiness index is because what their government provides for them. Yes, they have high taxes, but what do they get in return? Yes, it's expensive to live there, but again, what do you get in return? It's not really that complicated. We're fighting for humanity. It's not really that complicated. It just takes a commitment. You've got to look at things differently. You can't look at public health as a joke. You can't be selfish. These countries, these countries in their constitutions, they prioritize society, the collective. Their laws are written regarding hate speech, for example. Protecting the society more so than just the individual. And yes, our Constitution does establish, a society, but it's all about individual rights and freedoms. That's what our Constitution's like. Europe just approach things. Not every country in Europe, of course. We all have our mistakes. We all make our mistakes. We all have our political regrets, but my God, how else would you how would you rather live your life? We hear the same, this is the weird part, right? Just going to get in my soapbox for a second. Shocker. People talk about how, it's crazy, things are so expensive and this and that, and, this society, people don't work. Well, people here are just being taken advantage of, right? And this is what we try to tell folks on the right this every single day. They're being taken advantage of. Wouldn't you rather live in a society where they're like, okay, we want our society to be better? It's not a coincidence that countries who prioritize, universal health care or better quality food, for example, or access to higher education. There's a reason they live longer. Those are reasons they are happier. Those are reasons they're smarter. Right? We, I think it's 6th grade reading level. Teachers in the chat, can you confirm that? I think we read collectively at like a 6th grade reading level. And to be honest, I think that might even be high. There's a reason that the most educated states vote for Democrats. There's a reason. It's an understatement. Hold on a second. Do I have this still?
Smart people don't like me.
Yeah, exactly. What was that again?
Smart people don't like me.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Smart people don't like me.
It's true. Is it 5th grade? Sam, it's 5th. So 5th grade. 5th grade. There's teachers in our communities. They see it every single day. 5th grade. We're getting left behind by design in a way. It's just the city, not the whole state. Whatever, John. You're not very smart, John. John, if you want to learn something, this is the place to do it, right? This chat is the smartest on TikTok. Instead of just trolling your fifis, John, talking about the size of your wrench, John, why don't you just listen? Why don't you just listen to the humanity that's on display here? Why don't you just listen to a society? You know what, John? Here's the thing, John. Here, the election maps, my guy. Well, sure, we can look at the election maps, but last time I checked, John, land and trees don't vote. Okay? They don't vote, John. But again, if you'd like to learn something, you can learn what humanity looks like. You can learn, here's the thing, John. Those of us who care about humanity and rights want your life to be better too. You know what? Eli, you probably maybe weren't here for that, but Eli wants your life to be better. But you can't say the same about Eli now, can you, John? And that's the point, John. It's embarrassing for you, John. You're not making an impact like you think, John. You're just showing everybody who you are. I can guarantee you that Eli will fight for you. But you won't fight for Eli now, will you? And you could probably say the harshest, cruelest, meanest, most degrading things about Eli. And Eli would still fight for your rights and would still want your life to be better, John. He served his country honorably, defending your rights to be the hateful coward that you are. And he would still do it again. I guarantee it. I may have forgotten your pronouns, Eli. My apologies. It's right there in front of you, John. I, too, would want your life to be better. I would want you to have health care. I would never want your family to ever worry about losing health care because they lost a job. I would never want you to be, thank you, Glenn, I appreciate that. I would never want you to be in a position where you couldn't afford food. I would never want you to be in a position where you'd have to worry about choosing between health and mortgage. Yeah, you're right, John. See, you just proved my point. You just proved my point. I was going to pin this comment. You have health care. But millions don't, John. Millions don't. This is a soft landing, this community. When you are ready to deconstruct from the cult that you're in, there's a spot for you. And I can guarantee you that Eli would offer his hand and say, I'd like you to learn about me. I'd like to learn about you, John. I'd like to learn about what makes you tick, John. I'd like to learn more about what makes you, that gives you, or why perhaps you feel this way towards marginalized communities. Because that's what humanity looks like, John. That's what we're fighting for. Maybe consider joining us. Maybe consider joining us in the fight. Maybe consider joining us in the fight to make your life better, John. Because the president that you support doesn't give a fuck about you. Doesn't give a fuck about you. He's using you, John. He's been able to tap into latent hatred that you have towards the marginalized communities. Instead, we're resisting that to make sure that people who are that people can be protected in our society, and we're called radicals. We're called crazy. We're called lunatics. Sign me the fuck up. Hashtag I am radical. Sign me the fuck up. And you know what, John? So, John, you are now the face of the shame I'm about to lay on people who vote like you. You are selfish, John, and you don't even know it. You are un-American. You are anti-rights. You are anti-freedom. You are a traitor to the cause. Plain and simple. You and anybody like you who thinks the way you do are in the same bucket. But you know what, John? We still want you to have health care. I don't give a shit if you have it. We want everybody to have it. We don't want anybody to starve in the richest country on earth. We want people to have access to mental health care, vision care. We want the best public education system in the world, John. But you don't, because you're selfish. You're selfish. And you're probably proud of that, because your answer was, I have health care. Me have health care. Okay. Okay. Just keep that in mind, John. You can wear that. Moya, how are you?
I'm doing good. A little weirded out. I found some. Is it okay to talk about the e-files?
What about them?
So I'm from Palm Beach County, and I found like some disturbing connections to a company that's still dealing with children.
Can I ask a favor? Because we always like to corroborate things before we share. So if you want to, if you've not joined our Discord, would you mind just joining our Discord and sharing what you found there so we can review it?
Oh yeah. What's the you have it on your profile?
Yeah, it's in the link. It's in the link tree. If not, one of my mods can reach out to you as well. Because we just have a general rule here. We just like to. We do it with everybody. I'm not saying what you potentially could share doesn't have legs and legitimacy. We just don't want to do it. We would rather be last than incorrect than first and wrong. So that's why we do it.
Yeah,
so if you wouldn't mind doing
it.
And
it's weird. I would definitely join and post it there. It's weird. I don't want to do it myself, especially being from the same county. It feels a little dangerous at this point.
I get that. Yeah. So if you could just, you had a lot of feedback. If you could just join the Discord, friend, and share it in there, and then we can. We always want to make sure that we're addressing things as best we can. It's just our rule. I try to be consistent with it, friend or foe. I just try to be consistent. So I appreciate you honoring that request. Thank you. Brooke, how are you this morning? Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get on. Thank you for everything you do, Steve.
You got it. Have a good day. Be safe out there. All right. If you don't see the link, it's in the link. It's in the link tree that's in my bio, or the mods could reach out to you, or tag you, or whatever that looks like. Anyway, please join the Discord. Hey there, Nichelle. How are you?
I'm good, Steve. I just had to join. I agree with everything that you were just saying. I'm laying on shame in my own way with John, with the Johns of the world. Yes, we are fighting for humanity. Black women fight for all, and it's rarely reciprocal. And I wish more people understood that the broader fight for humanity is a good and noble fight, right?
Yeah.
Why is it that some get all or most and the rest of us get barely anything? Like, who wants to live in a society like that? I don't. Nope. You know, I'm sitting here in my own little corner of this app, inspired by you and so many others to reach out to the 90 million, right? That's my number one goal right now. Why is it that you're disengaged? Yeah, and I love what you're doing, and I can't wait for you to go on your tour. Why is it that you threw up your hands? Why is it that you decided to disengage politically? And I'm learning a lot. There's so many people that either are disengaged, feel like the government hasn't done anything for them. Who cares? And I'm trying to reach out and speak to those people, and a lot of it boils down to reaching out that hand and listening about that humanity. And so I don't know. I don't know how you do what you do, Steve, because it's really hard to listen to all the different stories, because sometimes I just want to shake people and say, wake up. Like, this is a fight for all of us, like you said, about humanity. This is for all of us. I don't I think people get overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed and they just say, you know what, I just got to focus on me and mine. It's not just disenfranchised MAGA. It's everyone else. I call it the 90 million reasons why. There's 90 million reasons. I want to find out all of them and try to. So I just want to encourage people today. Please, please, please don't lose hope. Please don't give up on humanity. Don't let the Johns of the world discourage you. Stay in the fight. The fight for humanity is a good one. That's all I wanted to say.
You know, well, I appreciate you saying that, Michelle. And, you know, I think I'm not going to go out on too much of a limb here, but I know that you would be willing to fight for John's rights, but he sure as hell is not going to fight for yours.
Yeah, that's very true. And sometimes that's a burden that a lot of us bear. I would absolutely fight for John's right. I saw the comment that he made and the comments that he was making. And it's sad. It's truly sad. Historically, you know, what's good for the Black community ends up being good for everybody, right? I mean, then that's not propaganda. Right. That's not me trying to center myself. That's just the truth, right? The number one recipient of the benefits of DEIA were white T women, right?
Correct.
Don't confuse DEIA with affirmative action, but still, when the saying goes that what's good, if it's good for the Black community, which, I mean, in many ways, we're kind of the bottom tier if you look at ethnic groups, right? In terms of economic progress, you know, access to education, healthcare, all of those things, our rates negatively are higher than any other demographic in the United States, and that's just true. When we look at maternal health, when we look at racism in medicine, things like that. But if it's good for the Black community, it ends up being good for everyone else, right? Even if you are not part of a marginalized community like John, right? So when access to healthcare with the ACA became, I don't know where he gets his insurance from, if it's the employer got it through the exchange, that ends up being good for everybody. That's why Black people fight so hard, because it benefits all of us, right? And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm not, when I'm looking and I'm doing civil rights work, or when I'm phone banking and I'm trying to get people motivated to vote, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, wow, this will be really good for me. This will be really good for my community. I'm not, no one that I know does that kind of work and things like that. We know that access for all benefits everybody. That's the whole point.
That is exactly the point.
Right.
Just, I mean, I say that. I mean, it just seems so simple, right, Michelle? I mean, it just seems so simple. And then we're left to say, well, if you don't support these kinds of things, then that's why there might be some racism thrown in there and some misogyny thrown in there, and now white nationalism and fucking Nazism, etc. So it's so obvious to so many. I agree with you. I mean, I believe in the all boats rise mantra, right? Because the better off the most disenfranchised amongst us are, the better off we all are, right? I mean, it's just not a stretch. Or as a friend of mine used to say, it's not rocket surgery.
Right. And the other thing I'll say is that what I'm finding, how can I phrase this? Interesting, heartbreaking, is this idea that no. We can't fight for all because I'm going to lose something. I think that's the number one thing, Steve, that I'm encountering, you know, when Smitty and I do the live, or when I do my lives, or just, you know, talking, if I get into conversations when I'm phone banking or doing whatever, is this idea that somehow the other is going to get something and I'm going to lose. That's probably the number one thing I'm running into. I don't care if we're talking about healthcare. I don't care if we're talking about immigration. Like, even within my own community, you know, no, they're taking my jobs. You really have to be equipped and ready. I just want to encourage the 1,500 people in here. If you're going to first of all, for me, I'm always doing a call to action. If you're listening in on Steve's lives or anybody else's lives, please don't just listen and engage in the moment. Take away the call to action. If you're not, don't come up on panels or whatever and give an opinion, listen for talking points from people like me, from Steve, from Smitty, there's some from Swan, from Erica, whoever. Listen for the talking points so that you can have these conversations in real life with your family members and your friends. I always tell people you don't have to change the whole world. You just need to make a difference in your world, right? We need more people to make a difference in your world. The number one thing, Steve, that I get is they feel like they're losing something. If healthcare is okay for me, if we get rid of medical racism and it benefits Black and Brown and Indigenous, then somehow that's taking away from them. That's the number one thing I'm running into, and that is really eye opening. For me, part of a marginalized community, trying to convince them that no, I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I'm trying to fight for everybody. That's been a really eye-opening thing as I continue to do this work, and I don't know how to get past that, but that's a big thing.
You bring up something interesting, and I've talked about this before about how there's part of me as a progressive I'm pragmatic by nature, but there's a part of me that's becoming a bit nihilistic, right? Like burn the shit down. Now, I always, that comes from a place of privilege, because I know if the entire system crumbles, as a white man in America, a cis white hetero man in America, the only thing I don't check is Christian. I'm the one that's going to be able to recover the quickest. So when you hear people talk about that, Nichelle, do you have a reaction about burning the whole system down? Because as we know, under perfect conditions, marginalized communities in our country suffer. Under perfect conditions, whatever those conditions may be. If we burn it down, what's left of the marginalized communities?
Oh, Steve, my friend, you've got me sitting up on this morning. That grinds my gears. Oh, I'm talking to the 1,500 people. Listen, please, I'm begging you. Listen, I'm not going to tell anybody what ideology politically to subscribe to. I'm never going to do that. But yes, that burn it all down, revolution, out in the streets, let's go, let's go. You phrased it so eloquently, Steve. Yes, that harms. I would be the first in line to be harmed. It always happens that way, because life's like you said, in a perfect world, we still end up.
And I'm not saying take all their funding out.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. In a perfect world, we're still disenfranchised, right? And why is that, Nichelle? Why would, in a perfect world, if all things would be equal, politically or economically or whatever access, would we still be disenfranchised? Because racism is built into the system, right? Literally, the very system economically was built on the backs of descendants of chattel slavery, right? I.e. my people. And so unless you change that, I don't know, maybe, but you can't change the way people's thoughts process without them deconstructing from that, right? The burn it all down philosophy is very concerning to me. I get its appeal. I understand it. There are times that I'm just like, I'm so done. I'm so over it. I'm so done. But yeah, that philosophy, while gaining a little bit of steam, I get it. We would be harmed first. And oftentimes, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, I'm just using this for the sake of conversation. Online leftists are the ones that that oftentimes promote that. And they don't understand the very communities, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend. It's usually white tea, young online leftists. I saw this with many movements that I've been involved in, and they have good intentions, right? They partner and call themselves allies to their communities. I saw this in real time during BLM, and then all of a sudden, they kind of take over the narrative and center themselves. And then it's all of a sudden it's like, hold on a second, this is BLM. Why are we talking about you? I don't get it. And then they get offended, right? And they start promoting things that aren't beneficial to the movement, right? And then they just either check out or they crash and burn. So yes, this idea of that whole, if you want to be an ally, I don't call them allies. I want accomplices. If you want to stand in solidarity, if you want to stand shoulder to shoulder, make sure your hands are clean. This is another thing I say all the time. It's hard to kumbaya, okay, and hold hands if the hands aren't clean. Now, I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder with Steve because I know his hands are clean. He's not perfect, but he's done the work and he's deconstructed. But a lot of these people with large platforms get out here and they're promoting things, but then the very things that they're promoting are harming the communities they claim to be fighting for.
Right.
So listen to Black and brown people and listen to Black and brown women. When we say, hold on a second, that strategy isn't going to work. Let me tell you something. There is no other, and I will die on this hill. There is no other community that understands the system of suppression in this particular nation than Black people. Okay. You show me where people who were literally considered property understand that my very existence in this country is a political statement. Why do you say that, Michelle? That's being dramatic. That's not true. That was 400 years ago. Listen, my ancestors were not considered human beings. We were considered like property, literally. There had to be a constitutional amendment to say that I'm a full, actual human being. So how did we rise in spite of a system that was built to make us not thrive? In my opinion, if you were wanting to change some things in this nation, I would look to that community to go, wow, how did you do that? How did you do that? How did you, in spite of, you started out being considered as animals, right? And then, they tried to separate you. We had, well, let's see, we went from slavery to Reconstruction to Jim Crow and the Black Codes, Civil Rights era. We still have issues and problems today. How did you get the right to vote? How did you negotiate with the oppressor? That's what we do. That's what we have to do. It's not a perfect world. It's not. But I would look to that community and listen to that community when we try to say, now listen, we're not a monolith. We're not a lot, but you could get another Black person up here that may think differently from me, and that's fine. But I would listen to that community and definitely not burn it all down. We've never said that.
Man, no notes. Two things on that, and I think this is a frustrating part to me because ideologically we align with a lot of those leftist creators, right? Those young leftists. They might stand for progression of rights. They would stand to preserve the rights of marginalized communities. But when the time comes to actually vote, because their candidate in their mind is part of the same machine, they don't vote with harm reduction in mind. And that's the frustration. And what's worse, that privilege then kicks in because I know members of that community that just decided that after they did not participate in the 2024 election, Trump won, they left the country. So that's a frustration. That's a big frustration point to me. And I know you and I have talked about this before about the 90 million, right? I think there are people that are genuinely disenfranchised. And those are people that I think are gettable voters. And I'm like you, I'm not going to prescribe and or direct who someone should vote for. I just want people to participate more, and I'm willing to take my chances. But that call to leftists that you just pointed out, I think is really, really needs to be said. We have to talk about it more. We agree on most everything about the progression of society. At least I think we do. Maybe that's a privileged statement, but I'll feel that way for the purpose of this conversation. But when the time comes, you've got to put the pearl clutching aside. And you've got to understand what Nichelle and other members of her community are telling you. Because you're going to vote for harm reduction for everyone, because you see the bigger picture, because you've been literally in the crosshairs for as long as we've had a country.
Yeah, I agree. I think you bring up a great point. A lot of people, I saw that in 2024 for sure, and I'm seeing it kind of come to arise again now. This idea of harm reduction and kind of shaming Black people who vote like that, right? And that speaks to what I was just talking about. We have thrived despite the system, not because the system improved. And that's through harm reduction. And a lot of people may look at that, and you're absolutely right. There's a little bit of a blind spot there, a little bit of a privilege there to go harm reduction. I'm not doing that. What do you mean? We need to push our candidates to be more progressive. And I agree with you. Ideologically, we do agree on quite a bit, but you're right. It turns into something different when it's time to actually vote, right? We saw that in real time in 2024. If they don't meet my, these purity tests, these litmus tests, right? If they don't meet everything that I want in a candidate, then look at me, my protest vote, or that's a protest to I'm not going to vote. Stick it to the man. And look at what happened, guys. Look at where we are. And really sit down for a second and look at where we are right now. They say elections have consequences. Boy, oh boy, do they have consequences. I often have to teach and remind people, you're not just voting for the top of the ticket, you're voting for the administration. You're voting for ideologies. You're voting for the Steve Millers. You're voting for the Kristi Noems. You're voting for the Pam Bondis. It's all down ballot. You're voting for potential Supreme Court lifetime picks. It's more than just the top of the ticket, right? And what I've been telling people lately, Steve, is listen, okay? If the vibe isn't what you want, let's look at policy. How about that? How about we look at the policies then that candidate is promoting? Not whether or not their laugh is irritating, not whether or not they took a picture, in Israel 5 years ago. How about we not do that? How about we look at the policies and how that's going to affect your day-to-day life? I've kind of switched it up. I'm trying to pick, everyday things that people worry about, asking, what's important to you, and try to connect that to a political policy or something like that, where they can understand, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. Because a lot of people don't understand also that state and local elections are the single most important thing that's going to affect your day-to-day life. Now, federal, that's a big deal, but your state and local elections are things that are going to impact how you move in your community. And so, yes, Black people have perfected the idea of harm reduction. We know that change takes time. It takes time. And again, can you imagine, Steve, being a Martin Luther King or an Angela Davis or John Lewis, any of our civil rights leaders, the late great Jesse Jackson? We know that we're working with people that wouldn't on their own help us or work with us, but we are negotiating with people, the oppressor, if you will, to try to get something done. And I know for a lot of people that just sounds like, I don't know, like weak, but it's not. It's not. It's how we've gotten so far when the system gives so little. So I'm glad that you brought that up about harm reduction. That's really, really important. And I wish more people understood that, because if more people had voted for harm reduction, I truly believe we wouldn't be where we are right now today. Everything is burning down. I just did a live really quick. I'll say this. I did a live really quick on Saturday or Sunday about the fact that Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, which most people don't even think about. Steve, nobody's thinking about like the Department of Transportation. But listen, if you're a trucker, I bet this matters to you. If you've got a trucker in your family, I bet this matters to you. He wants all CDL licenses. If you've got a CDL and you're not proficient in English, he wants you pulled off of your rig, and he did it. He pulled people off of their rig if during an inspection it found out that you were not proficient in English. He's also asking all states to now convert those CDL tests into English only, right? By contrast, by the way, California offers that test in 20 different languages. Now, listen, I understand you need to be able to understand English to be able to obey traffic laws. That's true. And drivers do. They do understand traffic laws and how to communicate on their radios and things like that. But this is another way where this racist ideology, this othering, right, is seeping through even into something as simple as a CDL license. And what's to stop him, or states, because like driver's licenses are issued by the state, what's to stop states to try and adopt driver's licenses and make them English only. Think of all the people that would impact. Elections have consequences. It's not just about Trump. It's about everybody he dragged in with him. So yes, harm reduction is a real thing.
Yeah, I say this a lot, Michelle. America is not like this because of Trump, but because America is like this is why we got Trump.
Oh, that needs to be on a t-shirt, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Queen.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you so much. Are you going live today, or is somebody going live today?
He probably will. Yeah, he probably will. What time is it? My time, 8:50. So probably in another hour and a half. Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Okay. We'll raid you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you very much.
Friend.
Have a good day. Be safe out there. You too. All right, bye. Can we just listen to black women, please? I mean, seriously, can we just fucking do that? Wouldn't it just make our lives just better? Oh my gosh. Whew. Wow. Unreal. Thank you, Nichelle. Appreciate you, friend, very much. Succubus Angel, how are you this morning?
Hey, Steve, how you been?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So, just like Michelle said, I work construction. I'm a woman in the trades, electrician, proud union member. If a house's foundation has issues, you don't put new windows on it, a new roof on it, new gutters, before you address the foundation issue. And that's what is happening in this country. You take care of the people, I don't want to say at the bottom, but the people that are the foundation of this country. Right. You take care of the blue collar workers. You take care of the food workers. You take care of all of these people that allow the rest of us to succeed in our daily lives. It's a simple thing. I don't understand why we keep putting new windows and roof on a crumbling house. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense to me. No, if the foundation is wrecked, the whole house is useless.
Correct. It's correct.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's the point. Yeah, that is exactly the point. I appreciate you, Angel. Thank you for representing the queens in the trades. I think it's awesome.
Yes, sir. There's few of us, but we are proud and we are starting to gain numbers. So anybody out there, all of you women, please help your kids, nieces, all of them get in the trades. We are at a deficit and it is good money. It is extremely great information to have as a person. And just think, you could get, lesser or free electrical or plumbing or anything through your kids. I've done lots of work for my friends and family, and I charge them just like the cost of material. And I mean, we have healthcare and we have pensions and we have all of these good things that, unions used to provide for people that, no longer exists. I have retirement, hopefully. It's a great trade. I know that this country pushes college a lot, but we are at a deficit for people in the trades. And it is an excellent way, and especially people of color, we still honor, the DEI and all of that. And it's a excellent way for people to have a career where you're not going into debt. You don't pay for much of anything other than maybe your books and, of course, your work supplies, your tools and stuff like that. But everything, you're being paid while you're being trained. And when you top out,
whatever else.
Yeah, and when you top out, you're making, I think the low ball down south, I think it's like $30 an hour for electricians. And then it goes up to like 60 or 80. And if you want to talk about like niche things like elevator people, they make $100+ an hour. These are good fields.
They are. It's interesting, Angel, because like I can do like finished carpentry and I can do some basic plumbing and but I don't mess with electricity because I can't see it and it would kick my ass. So that's why I don't bother messing with electricity. And I need a new outlet put outside my house, and I can't get somebody here until August. So especially in rural America, it's a major issue. It's a major issue.
Well, Steve, outlets are extremely easy. I will tell you that. And your best way is just turn off the whole house. I do that anytime I'm doing electrical work. I turn off the whole house because in older homes, you don't know if things are backfed. So you turn off the whole house and then you don't have to worry about it.
You see, I'm not one of those guys that if I'm on a plane and the pilot has a heart attack and the stewardess comes out and say, anybody here can fly a plane? I'd be like, no, I can't fucking fly it. I know my limits. Let's put it that way. I know my limits. But again, thank you for that message. I think it's great.
Yes,
and
sir.
Let's empower more women to join the trades. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You all take care.
Have a good day. Bye. Be safe out there. Bye. It's a great opportunity. I mean, there's so many. Holy shit. Steve has a fear of the unknown. Yes, Steve does have a fear of the unknown. Well, I had a bad experience with plumbing and electric work when I bought my house, and there was a lot of things that were unfinished about my house, so I had to do some work on it, and I had a couple of bad experiences because I'm like, I can do that. Yeah, fine. No, didn't work out that way. Did not work out that way. But anyway, yeah. DIY trauma is a thing. It certainly is. Only because if I do one project, then that leads to another project and so on. Cookie Shops, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to jump in there. I came in while Nichelle was in a box, and there's a lot of key things that she has said, but there's one thing that is happening right now that is just sticking out like a sore thumb. And although I'm not in Texas, what's going on right now with Crockett and Tallarico for the Senate seat is a prime example of everything that y'all had I don't know if it was everything that y'all talked about since I came in kind of in the middle of your conversation, but it highlights exactly the issue. You have people that are
I'm gonna pause you one quick second. I'm gonna give you the keys to the car. I just got to go deal with something. So please feel free. Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I was saying was okay. So what I was saying was the thing about what's happening, and have people that are tops that we need change. We need people want to stand up to this regime. We need who has the qualifications and the experience. She's being overlooked. And so what's being perpetuated is exactly what happened in November of 24. And failing willingly the open book test. Exactly the same thing. So the whole reason why we're in the circumstance that we're in right now, it is happening all over again. It's happening all over again, and it doesn't make any sense. We have to, as Black women, prove ourselves by our education. We have to outperform by getting the education. We have to outperform once we get that education, and then we get into the marketplace as far as work is concerned. So then we have to prove ourselves by the work that we do. Once we do the work, and then we get into positions like Miss Crockett, and then then it's like, oh, well, she doesn't have as much experience on the state level as Tallarico has as he has. But what does she have? She has the experience as a federal legislature. But not only that, she is an attorney. An attorney that has practiced civil rights. She has proven herself time and time and time again on the Senate floor, but it's still not good enough. And it grinds my gears at all of the microaggressions that I am seeing in the comments, because in every opportunity that I get, I don't have to live in Texas or read the book to be able to know the story, because it's happened time and time again. Things will never change as long as these microaggressions continue to exist. I don't want to hear anything about, they want to talk about how she voted to send money elsewhere. I want to know if those people, do y'all look at the bills that they present on the floor? Do y'all read the bills and how they jumble things up in those bills? So you're almost danged if you do and danged if you don't. Y'all talk, it's ridiculous. That's what I wanted to really just highlight right there. It's crazy that what y'all did in 24, y'all about to do it all over again.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, whatever, obviously I'm not in Texas. I've donated to Jasmine Crockett's campaign. I desperately want her to win because that's the kind of voice that I'd like to see in the United States Senate. I do hope that Texans who either have supported, supported James Tallarico, if he's not the party nominee, my expectation is that they lend their support to Jasmine Crockett during the general. I don't know if that will happen. He has come out and said, listen, if I'm not the nominee, he'll campaign for her. I hope that's true. I really do. I really hope that's true, because I think Texas is a winnable state, to be honest. But thanks for jumping in today, Cookie. I appreciate your voice very much. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You got it. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Yeah, I mean, this is it, right? I mean, there's so much on the line here these days. I got to tell you, there's so much on the line. We've given the examples of Namibia and of Iceland and others, Nordic countries, and how they approach their politics. They're led by women, and they're led by, the guiding light is humanity. It's about education. It's about public health. It's about access to health care. It's about food quality. It's about water quality. And again, I say this a lot. People who believe what we believe, right? We're considered radical because we believe that healthcare, food, water, and shelter are human rights. And we're told that we're radical. So sign me the fuck up for that, right? Sign me up. Radicals for the win. But Texas, there's a big opportunity there. The voting turnout, early voting has been high for Democrats, continue to outpace. Remember, Texas is not a voter registration state, it's a voter suppression state. It's across the board. She has to be, voices need to be heard. And I just, I want to piggyback on what Cookie said, what Nichelle said. We've got to be able to focus on harm reduction when the time comes, though. We really do. We really, really, really have to focus on that. And this is going to require people on the left. And I think Nichelle said it really, really well. I mean, if black women can vote with the guiding light being harm reduction every single time they show up, then why can't entitled white America do the same? So it's going to be one of those moments. You're going to have to make a choice. You are either going to be on the side for people that are fighting for humanity. And yeah, sure, some could fight harder than others, but in general, that's what you got. Or are you just going to be part of the problem? I hope you choose the fight. This is, speaking of Queens, this is Dolly Parton.
Well, hey there, it's Dolly. Now, I've always believed that every child deserves a fair chance to grow up healthy, hopeful, and surrounded with love. That belief is what brought me together with the incredible folks at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. For nearly 90 years, their teams have provided compassionate and talented care. They see children not just as patients, but as precious lives, each with a story and a future. I am so excited to share East Tennessee Children's Hospital is becoming, guess what? Dolly Parton Children's Hospital, yay! And together, we're committed to strengthening a relationship where world-class care and a caring heart go hand in hand for children across East Tennessee and beyond. And I hope that you'll join me in supporting this work. I can't do it all myself. I'm going to need you. So when we come together for our children, there's no limit to what we can do. To learn more or to get involved, visit dollychildrens.org.
Dolly's certainly doing something with her money, you know. Dolly's always been out there, you know, fighting for people. I've long respected Dolly Parton for what she does, but anyway, all right. So I do need to we got to make sure that we're talking about things that have to stay top of mind. We discussed earlier. Let me just check in with my mods real quick. Something. Can you guys confirm the time for me of the Clinton hearing today? I know it's behind closed doors because Republicans are cowards, but I want to say it's at 10, or maybe it's just started. We're obviously not going to get the feed today. We'll probably get what we got from the Jack Smith testimony that was behind closed doors initially. We got the transcript, then we got selected audio. So 11 Eastern time. Thank you, Jess. 11 Eastern time. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate you, friend. Heart in the chat for Jessica. When she's not kicking me in the shins and or making me blush, she's an incredible human being. So thank you for that, friend. Appreciate you. All right. Let me move on to something else here. Yes, I tried to butter you up so I could avoid a shin kick on the occasion. Oh, that's right. My apologies. It's all right. Hillary is today. Bill is tomorrow. That's right. Okay. Let me move on to this. So we talked about this story that NPR had reported about some missing files from the Trump files. And the story has picked up a lot of momentum. The New York Times is reporting on it now. So I'm going to go through that story for you in just a moment. Just a couple little things first that I wanted to address. That's because we still have this argument about fraud in Minnesota. And I think based on what we've been hearing this morning from our queens, we know it's oh, that's harsh. I normally bully you, whatever. You like it. Anyway, J.D. Vance has gone on the record now talking about a temporary halt to Medicaid funding for the state of Minnesota. And we're going to talk about that in just a second because, as is the case, this is a self-inflicted wound and or you're harming the people that put you in power. So here's the statement.
That we have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure that the state of Minnesota takes its obligations seriously to be good stewards of the American people's tax money. Now, what is this going to mean? What this means is that, first of all, the providers on the ground in Minnesota have actually already been paid. The state has paid those providers the money. What we're doing is we are stopping the federal payments that will go to the state government until the state government takes its obligations seriously to stop the fraud that's being perpetrated against the American taxpayer. There are a few different ways that we're doing that. There are a few different affirmative actions that we're taking today. Dr. Oz is going to talk about those.
Oh, boy,
but let me talk a little bit about the spirit of this and why we're doing it.
Yeah, please.
So number one of the examples of fraud that we've seen in Minnesota that we verified that is just awful is that a program that existed to ensure that autistic children had access to some after-school services has made a number of people rich, not by providing services to needy children, but by allowing fraudsters to take money that ought by right go to American citizens and to American families and to set up sham businesses, set up sham clients, set up people who are not even autistic but claim to be autistic in order that they benefit from the money that's out there. Now, what does that mean? Number one, it means that a lot of people are getting rich off the generosity of American taxpayers, but more fundamentally and more importantly than that, it means that there are kids in Minnesota who deserve these services, who need these services, and they're not going to those kids, they're going to fraudsters in Minneapolis. That is unacceptable, and that's the sort of thing that we're cutting off with this action today. Let me make one final point about the spirit of this. You know, one of the things I love about our country is that we're a generous country. We're a generous people. We take care of our fellow citizens who can't afford medical care because...
I'm sorry, what?
They're down on their luck. We take care of people who can't afford to put food on the table, even though they work hard and play by the rules. We recognize that we're all in this together, and part of the reason why we have Medicaid, or part of the reason why we have food stamps, part of the reason why we have these programs is we want to make sure that kids who grew up in families not all that different from the family that I grew up in, that they have access to the basic necessities: food, medical care, after-school services when their family needs them, but they're unable to pay. What's happening in Minneapolis, in California, in a number of states all across
Florida, Mississippi, Ohio. Do you want to mention those states, JD? You couch fucker? Do you feel like mentioning those? Pillow boy? No? Automan collector? Don't you want to bring up those, do you? You don't want to talk about the biggest Medicaid fraud in history perpetrated in Florida by Senator Rick Scott. There's an investigation now. How come you not brought up Brett Favre's name? Interesting.
Our country is that the generosity and the good hearts of our fellow Americans are being taken advantage of. We're taking that social contract that says that our American citizens, we take care of one another, and we're allowing a few bad actors to get rich off that generosity of spirit instead of providing the services to the kids who need it. This is disgraceful. It has happened for too long. Far too many people have gotten rich by taking what is the best of the American spirit and getting rich off of it instead of providing services to kids who need it. That is stopping today. We're taking a whole of government approach in the Trump administration to take this fraud seriously. What Mehmet Oz and his team at CMS have done is really remarkable, and it's just the first step of our efforts.
Wow. I have a little follow-up on that, because he's now being grilled, of course, by the talking heads in media. Well, we have to talk about that. Excuse me, we have to talk about that. Then I've got some numbers for you, because you guys would be surprised that Medicaid cuts to Minneapolis, and I should say Minnesota in general. Do you know who it's going to impact the most? Well, it's going to impact Trump voters. So let me play that sound for you, because you're really like, yeah, of course it is. So this is the conversation. This is the interview with is that the one? No. Anyway, I'll go back to that. But I want to give you a little data. Let's talk about what the data looks like, okay? Because this is a demographic conversation that we're going to have about Minnesota. You know, Minnesota, not the most diverse state, right? So Minnesota Medicaid funding and enrollment by demographic. This comes from Minnesota.gov. 67% of people that are on Medicaid programs in the state are either children, parents, or pregnant people. Okay. Seniors account for 15 to 17%, and then all other adults, non-disabled, non-parent expansion population, which is less than 20%. Seniors and people with disabilities are a small share of enrollment, but consume most funding due to long-term care and complex medical needs. Children make up about 44% of Medicaid recipients in Minnesota. About 1 in 3 children in Minnesota rely on Medicaid coverage, and families with children represent about 65% of enrollees overall. So, JD, you pathetic couch fucker, you're telling the citizens of Minnesota that their children don't deserve coverage? That disabled people don't deserve coverage? Meanwhile, your boss is suing the federal government for $10 billion. So miss me with your fucking bullshit. Now, in the right-wing spaces that you're going to hear today or yesterday or tomorrow or whatever it might be, they're going to use that sound. They're going to talk about how all this fraud that continues to exist in Minnesota. Well, guess what? There are 605,000 enrollees that are white in Minnesota. And by the way, if you do simple math, 53% of white people in Minnesota voted for Donald Trump. So guess what? It's going to over-index that those cuts to Medicaid program are going to over-index against Trump voters, specifically in Minnesota. So you're welcome. Once again, farmers continue to vote for him, you get bailed out again. Here you are complaining about Medicaid, Medicare, also SNAP. Federal programs in red states dominate. Largest recipients outside of corporate billionaires, largest recipients by population and demographics in our country on a per capita basis who get to take advantage of federal programs like Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP are white people. And then the percentage will tell you, yeah, the majority of white people voted for Trump. So there you go. There you go. You're going to believe the fucking lies. Put Amy Bach in jail. Last time I checked, she was a white woman, wasn't she? Yeah, she was. Don't ever fucking preach to the American public about fraud, you pathetic fuck. Your fucking boss is a bona fide fraudster. He has been all his life. And JD, you wouldn't have a fucking career if it wasn't for one of the most pathetic, disgusting human beings on this earth, Peter Thiel. Who, by the way, has experimented with injecting the blood of youngsters to continue life expectancy and to live a longer life. And you want to tell people about fraud? You really want to tell people about fraud? $10 billion the president is suing the taxpayer because he didn't like the fact that his tax returns got leaked? Well, guess what? If he had just leaked them, if he had just released them himself, like every other president did, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah, I was going there. JD, why don't you tell your voters about Acre Trader, my guy? Why don't you tell them about that? Why don't you stand up there? See, again, this is why I had a fucking press pass. Because that's the question. So you're talking about fraud, JD. Well, why don't you explain to the people in here about Acre Trader and what that is? In case you don't know, friends, Acre Trader is a company where it's been heavily funded, of which JD Vance is involved, that gets to buy up farmland from those family farms that Trump-era tax policies and economic policies, including tariffs, when they go out of business. And here you go. You're ready to just swoop in and buy it up. JD Vance is dangerous, friends, because he's smart. He is fueled by Peter Thiel and Curtis Yarvin, who certainly want a white society. JD Vance gone on the record saying, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. Okay. Got it. 80, see, again, what's the numbers? I'm just make sure I get that right again. Hold on. 67% of Medicaid enrollees in Minnesota are either children, parents with children, or pregnant people. And you're going to go and tell your voters that you're cutting funding. The simple math tells you the majority of white people voted for Trump in Minnesota, which means, by math, they are going to be over-indexed, impacted by these cuts. What? Yeah, pregnant people. People who are pregnant. Pregnant people. Okay. This to me just tracks, right? Because why? Because Tim Walz destroyed you in the debate, JD? Called out your bullshit? You don't like him now? Because Ilhan Omar, fucking with the queen that she was during the State of the Union, calling out the president for his bullshit? Nick fucking Shirley exposed what? Same guy that went to California and other states, try to expose fraud and getting embarrassed again? We know that your voters aren't the brightest bulbs on the tree, so you'll just continue to gaslight them and lie to them like you do in an attempt to make them even angrier at marginalized communities. Don't talk to us about fraud, you pathetic fuck. Don't you dare. Don't you dare talk to us about fraud. Don't you fucking dare. Your president, by the way, found liable in a court for fraud. A convicted felon because of fraud. Built his entire career on fraud. User. No, fraud is not okay with me. That's the point I'm making. Try to follow along. Try to keep up, okay? We move fast here because we're smart. Everybody, fraud bad, but call it out. Call out the fraud. Call out the fraud in the Pentagon. That hasn't passed an audit in a decade. Call out the fraud in the federal government right now. Call out the fraud that was Doge. Call out the fraud that the massive amount of investment, in the crypto business run by the Trump family that we see every single day. The fact that the president has enriched himself to the tune of nearly $3 billion since he stepped into the White House or into the Oval Office in a year. We can't see that. We can't see that, but that's okay with you, right? That's fine with you. Just be consistent. You want to find common ground? Then say, let's talk about fraud in government, and then we'll give you all the fucking examples. But no. It's just Minneapolis daycare centers. Right. Good to know. Appreciate you. Okay, let me, I played that for you. I played that. So, this kind of leads to the SAVE Act, right? Because they make all these claims about voter fraud. I'm going to let John Thune, who's the Senate Majority Leader, because, again, the SAVE Act is moving through Congress. It's not going to go anywhere, and he tells you why. Because the Republicans are really nervous about getting rid of the filibuster. I've said this before. When Democrats take control of the House and the Senate, I want the filibuster gone. I want it gone. I don't want to see it anymore. It's a fucking relic. I don't want it anymore. I want progress. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if a future Democratic president rules and governs the same way that Trump has done through executive order, but do it to help people, not to take rights away, right? So this is John Thune talking about, how he's going to address the SAVE Act as it eventually makes its way to the Senate.
The Republicans in your conference who are pushing over and over again that you can do this with the talking filibuster.
Well, there are a couple things about that. One is, once we get on, if we were to go down that path, it's very hard to pivot and get back to open up the government. I frankly think we ought to, we need to make sure that DHS, TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA, all those agencies are funded. And so I'm hopeful there will be a breakthrough on that. That's going to require some, obviously cooperation from the Democrats, which we haven't seen a lot of so far. But we want to get to the SAVE Act. We also, as I mentioned, we've got a housing bill that we can pivot back and forth to if we get a deal to open up the government. That's harder to do once you're in the throes of a talking filibuster. The talking filibuster issue is one on which there is not certainly a unified Republican conference, and there would have to be. If you go down that path, you're talking about the need to table what are going to be numerous amendments and an ability to keep 50 Republicans unified pretty much on every single vote. And there isn't support for doing that at this point. As I've said, and we will get on it, and we will have a vote on the SAVE Act. The context of that, the process in which we consider it is still an open question, but one that we're having conversations about, but clearly not a unified position, at least among Republicans in the Senate.
But it sounds like that vote might be subject to a 60 vote threshold. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's obviously that's a very real possibility.
On tariffs specifically, the president.
So he's telling you he doesn't have the votes. You don't have the votes. You don't have the votes. That's what he's telling you, right? So it's dead in the water as it is, which is good news because, again, it's a voter suppression tactic. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with election integrity. It's got nothing to do with election security. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just more of the Republican Party admitting that they're afraid of women and they don't want marginalized communities to vote. Period. That's what it is. We see through it. The reason we know that is because a lot of people have been talking about this Heritage Foundation report. So I've been able to read through a lot of it, and I just want to summarize it because the Heritage Foundation, which is a right-wing think tank, which they're the authors of Project 2025, they've always had a lot of anti-immigration sentiment and a whole bunch of other shit. So when they provide data, when the go-to, sort of the Republican policy Bible, if you will, Yeah, we'll call it that. The Republican Policy Bible, when they talk about voter ID and voter in election integrity and voter fraud, we should take that as serious because this is the source, right? So the Heritage Foundation maintains an interactive database called the Election Fraud Map, which it describes as a sampling of proven instances of election fraud across the U.S. The purpose is to demonstrate vulnerabilities in the election process and the ways in which fraud is committed. It catalogs cases involving absentee ballot fraud, ineligible voting, impersonation, vote buying, and similar crimes. Since the 1980s, they've been studying this for 25, 30, 40 years. As of recent updates, the database includes around 1,500 proven cases since the early 80s. 1,500. About 1,513 total fraud cases since 1992 nationwide. Only 68 documented cases of non-citizens voting in the 1960s, and just, wait for it, 10 involving undocumented immigrants. There have been more than 2 billion ballots cast in that time between when they started this research through 2024. 2 billion. And there were 10, not 10,000, not 10 million, 10. That is a 0.0000764% of votes. It's a non-fucking issue, which is why, again, I tell you, this is not about voter integrity. This is not about election security. This is about voter suppression. Because think of the people who are targeted. It's women. It's marginalized communities in general. Those two communities in particular, yes, we realize not monoliths, but those two communities and demographics in general, vote Democrat. It is elections, voter suppression at its finest. Sitting right there, right in front of you. Good morning, Jack. How are you today?
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now.
Good for you. You're using lotion? Good boy. You don't want a raw dog today? Good boy using lotion. You know, it depends on the mood. Like if you've got lotion, you can use lotion. If you don't have lotion, you can raw dog it. That's fine. You know, I'm all about self-love. Take the time, do what you need, okay? It's early. I mean, good for you. Maybe you've been up all night, you made it home, but you know, hold on, let me play a little music. Here you go. Yeah, man. Yep, good for you. So that was a 15-second soundbite, so that's probably all the time that you needed, right? Good to know. Jesus. Jack, why would you request to come back up, bro? Did you need to finish? Sorry. We know you don't let women finish, but whatever. River Bear, how you doing, man?
Facts, how do I follow that?
I know, right? Seriously.
You brought me up after that?
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. Good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm back for a little bit. With that J.D. Vance clip that you played, all those programs that he was talking about, feeding children and blah, 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 they voted against that.
Of course they did.
You know, and it's unbelievable. But I wanted to touch on something more controversial, aside from the State of the Union speech, where the new talking point for MAGA is the Democrats didn't stand up, when they were talking about immigration and stuff like that. But at the same time, Bondi didn't turn around and acknowledge the Trump and Epstein survivors. But I digress. So my controversial thing for the day is I'm very impressed with the Black community. They came out and they voted 92% to avoid this happening. I looked at the demographics and who voted. You know, I'm a registered Republican. I've been up here many times and I've talked with you before. Yep. And my morals and values led me to vote for Harris because, one, I'm not a woman, I'm not gay, I'm not trans, but they should have the same rights as I do. That being said, the people that didn't show up, it wasn't the Johnnies that got Trump elected, I don't believe. It wasn't MAGA that got Trump elected. It was the lack of Democrats coming out to vote. Even though in these special elections, everybody that Trump is endorsing are losing, and they're coming out for those votes. But as a Republican, and here I am, I voted for Harris. I think the message needs to be a little louder. And I know you do a good job on here all the time. I watched you all the time when I was before my house burned in Palisades. But it's the Democrats that need to come out and vote, and they're doing that right now. But they didn't do it for Harris. And I think that's a problem within the Democratic Party. I think, I'm not going to put on a tinfoil hat and say, well, votes weren't counted or something like that, because I have no evidence of that. So, but I will say that, she was a woman, and she was a woman of color, and, Dems just didn't vote for her. And I think that's what got Trump elected. Trump didn't gain any more supporters than he did the first time that he won. What was it, 77 million? And I think Harris got 75 million. Biden got 81 million.
Correct.
So it was. I mean, I don't want to use the term us, but I put myself in the Democratic arena when I say us. There were a lot of Republicans that voted for Harris, and the Dems just didn't show up. I think that needs to be fixed somehow, or get the message across. I think what Trump is doing is helping get that message across, but that's my take on it. And seriously, I just wanted to come up and say hi to you, and as always, you're doing a good job. But, that's my take on what happened and how this happened.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Good to see you again. Come back anytime. Thanks for being here.
Always nice seeing you, Fax.
You too. Take care. It's a fair point, because the margins are so slim. Don't forget, we get little. I mean, Trump picked up some votes amongst black men and the Latino community, and because we got the other side, so there's a little bit of growth there, which we can unpack from a political science perspective. And then the opposite side would be, yes, less participation from independents and people on the far left, leftists in general, not the far left. So that's when you do the math, that's what happened, right? When you have a coalition and you're getting a consistent vote from certain demographics, when that needle shifts a little bit, again, what was the margin? 1.2%, something like that, 1.5%. That's why the Do Something Tour is incredibly important, because I am going on the road. In case you don't know, I'm going out on the road, and my goal is to try to connect to the 90 million that Nichelle spoke about. I really believe that, again, we know that no voting block is a monolith. There's roughly 90 million people who were registered to vote in 2024 that did not participate. I think half of those are the complainers, two wings of the same bird, two sides of the same coin. They're probably, anarchistic. They're maybe more nihilistic about their approach. They may not be winnable, but I think there's 45 million people that are really not different than you and I. They feel disaffected. They feel disenfranchised. They don't feel like government works for them. They've never seen their representative. They're struggling. They're trying to make ends meet. They're all across the country. They're in northern New England. They're in the Ohio River Valley. They're in Appalachia. They're in the Southeast. They're in the Midwest. They're in the far West. They're on reservations. They're near reservations. They're in rural areas. They're in urban areas. They're everywhere. And they just want to be heard. So that's what our tour is about, going and talking to people. I'm going to approach this not as, hey, vote for a progressive. My goal is to get people back into the electoral system, but remind them what it is that they are voting for. Then go through the exercise to say, if these things are important to you in your community, this is who represents you. This is who, so ultimately we're going to have like a QR code for people to register if they haven't or just policy positions. I will be prepared. When I'm going into these communities, check your registration. When I'm going into these communities, wherever it might be, motorcycle shop, guitar store, VFW, diner, talk about using privilege. That's what I'm going to do. So that's kind of what our tour is. We had to move the timing of the official start back a little bit because we're lagging behind in fundraising. We'll get there. So the early spring and into the early summer months, I'll probably be traveling here and there, taking a plane or driving my car and going to community events. And then the full-on tour itself will start later in the summer and it will lead up to Election Day. I'll be definitely going to D.C. I'm going to try to hit as many swing states as possible. I'm planning on putting, thousands of miles on a vehicle, myself and the dog. And then anybody who wants to join in. It's going to be like a Forrest Gump thing, We'll be running towards preservation of democracy. But anyway, that's the plan. We are, like I said, lagging in fundraising. But today, if I could just ask you to continue to donate to our friend Eli Official 13, as we get through the show today, and we'll get back to our fundraising officially tomorrow. We are certainly looking for a sponsor. That would really help. A committed top line premium sponsor that wants to support our cause. If you are in a position where you can do that and you want to be the official sponsor to do something to her, please reach out. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. All right. Anybody else in the box? I don't think so. No. Okay. All right. Again, just back to this real quick. 1,513 total fraud cases since 1982. Only 68 documented cases of non-citizen voting since the 1980s, and just 10 from undocumented immigrants. 10. Even small amounts of fraud could affect the close elections, sure, but we're talking about what is it again? 0.000050764% of votes over the more than the 2 billion ballots cast. 10. It's a non-issue. And that's, again, this goes back to the entire Republican machine. We're going to focus on hate. So when the president puts out statements that says, transgender for everyone, no men and women's sports, and it gets a bunch of cheering, right? That's part of it. Again, a non-issue. There are more people accused of crimes against children in Trump's cabinet than there are, trans athletes in the NCAA. It's a non-fucking issue. It's a non-issue, always has been. So people like Eli and Eli's communities are being harmed because of bullshit fucking rhetoric. Yes, Katie, I am going to have a signage on my vehicle. Looking at an RV, that's kind of, so yes, to answer your question, yes, KD, we're going to have signage. We've got a graphic. You can find it on our Instagram page. By the way, if you do want to reach out, go to the link tree that's in my bio, and you'll see the link to the Instagram, and there's an email address that's in there too. We're trying to make this official. We're trying to incorporate. This is gonna be a thing. So I'm doing it, whether it's perfect or not. I'm doing it. So you'll see me out there. Yes, I will have protection in case I saw somebody ask that as well. It'll be me and the dog, although he's a golden. I wouldn't exactly call him the most. He's loyal, but he's not the biggest protector in the world. Although, unless it's my daughter, he'll protect her for sure, no matter what. No matter what.
Don't you talk shit about Kipper?
I'm not. He's loyal, but he's a golden. Like if anybody breaks into our house to be like, hey, yeah, they keep the diamonds and the jewels over there. This is where the TV is. Scratch my head.
That's my dog too. I have a doodle mix, and she's so smart, but she is so dumb.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, she's just a lovable idiot. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind today?
Well, I was just thank you to everyone who says I'm looking fabulous. It's the rage. It makes me look really cute.
You are looking fabulous.
If you go to the link in my bio, guys, you can buy a fun-sized and feral shirt, Victoria for Congress now. Those are live. There are 2 options. So if you're feeling, everyone really liked the fun-sized and feral. Anyway, I wanted to follow up because
we lost you.
Just the Democrat.
There you go. Your mic's cutting out, Victoria.
Oh, is it back? We're back. We're good.
It's back now. Yep.
Okay, cool. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about this because we just saw the DCCC.
You keep cutting out. Something's up with your mic.
I don't know what's going on. Hold on 1 second.
There. Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't know what's going on. All right, let me take them out. Let me just take them out right now. I don't know what's going on with them. So the DCCC has come out saying they're going to support specific races across the country. These are bought and paid for races. These are places that they know that they can support these Democratic candidates. That does not mean that those Democratic candidates will win their primaries. That does not mean that, you know, it's like a total loss. So I want to like preface that because I think a lot of people got a little disheartened. Like I saw some people in my district who were upset that I didn't get their support. I'm not surprised. I don't take corporate money. I don't take APAC money. I'm not gonna get support for my race. Like that is until they feel threatened. I'm not gonna get support. So that's something to like keep in mind. But that does not mean that you shouldn't participate. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't support candidates all the way up and down the ballot. The Democratic Party is working towards change, regardless of what we see going on at the DNC. Local and state parties are not the same. They are separate entities. Yes, we all are part of that, but please understand that you can still affect change even if your person isn't the one that they're saying they're going to support. I just wanted to highlight that because I think people get a little disenfranchised with the party. And trust me, as a candidate for office, I too get angry as a party member, I get angry about it. That does not change that voting is public transportation. We have two-party system. Pick the bus that is going in the right direction, and that is not Republicans right now.
It's a good call. Yeah, we all should be critical of the machine on the Democratic side. And that's the whole point. But to get change, we got to survive. Survive today to thrive tomorrow. You know, harm reduction being hopefully that. You know, I'm going to sound like a broken record. In fact, I'm going to put a sign outside my house that says harm reduction. Just leave it at that. Would you like to plug while you're here?
Hey guys, I'm Victoria Broderick. I'm running for Congress in Tennessee's District 4. I am a working class mom. I have 2 tiny humans, 3 fur babies, and I foster with a local humane society. I also have an exchange student right now. I ran my first congressional campaign in 2024. In 5 months, raising over $120,000 while working full time. I am the type of candidate that wants to protect your rights. I'm running on safety, affordability, freedom, and equity in 2026, and we are going to bring change in 2026. We saw what happened in CD7 here with Afton Bain's race, and the only difference between Afton and I is I've now been running since May of 2024. So if you want to support my campaign, go donate today, get a handwritten thank you card from yours truly, go buy a fun-sized and feral shirt because we need politicians who are fun-sized and feral, and we need DC fighters, and I am going to be a DC fighter. So I am running in Congressional District 4 in Tennessee. I am excited to flip this seat from a 16-year incumbent who does not need to be in office anymore.
Well said. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate you. Be safe out there, friend. Have a good day. You do look fabulous. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, again, this is it, man. This is it. It's go time. We are in it. This is 40. How are you today?
Well, good morning. That was a complete tapping error, but you're amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry
Thank
about that. You're amazing.
That's okay.
And I can't wait to see what you do with this tour that you're on.
Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for being here. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
You as well. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to do that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Have anybody else in here? Yep. Bree, how are you this morning? Hello?
Tapping
Bree. Oh, I got you. No problem. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. Oh, sorry. I got you. Appreciate that. Is it Tor?
Or Torho. Yeah, that works.
Hi. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm very happy to have found your show and appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
I promise to do my own research, but I would love to see some congressional body. And I think I sent you a message on a Venmo about this. Do some kind of untouchables led by Jack Smith SVU unit. Look into take over the DOJ.
Yeah. Yes, that was you. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's the debate. Would we rather see Jack Smith as Attorney General or FBI Director? Right?
Oh, absolutely. DOJ, head of DOJ, absolutely. I mean, or the FBI. Either works for me.
Agreed. I agree with that. Thank you for your support of the show, sir. And thanks for jumping in today to talk to us. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
Bye.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, seriously, right? I mean, it should be a short list. Fucking love to have Jack Smith leading the charge as we prosecute people. And then with that being said, I meant to play this earlier. Congresswoman Summer Lee. I think Summer Lee is from, I want to say she's from Illinois. I think I have this sound here somewhere. Hang on a second. Maybe. Hang on a sec. Yes. Where is she from? You guys know. Pittsburgh? That's right. That's right. She represents PA. Well, she has or is planning to introduce articles of impeachment against Pam Bondi.
You would introduce articles of impeachment against Attorney General Pam Bondi. What is the evidence that you would point to that you believe demonstrates an impeachable offense?
Well, first of all, the subpoena that we were able to get and to secure back in July, they have been in contempt of that subpoena since August. And since then, we have, of course, the committee, of course, tried to hold the Clintons in contempt of the very same subpoena. Pam Bondi had an obligation to honorably produce all of the Epstein files in the DOJ's possession. And it is very clear that they have no intention of doing that. And they're attempting right now to pretend that they are exempted from releasing the rest of them because of the Epstein Transparency Act, but they're not. This subpoena goes much further, and they are still held to that legally. Also, she has been weaponizing the DOJ. This is not a partisan agency, right? This is supposed to be the agency that does our federal law. It is not an agency for Republicans. It's not the agency for the president who is in office. It is not their protection agency. They're supposed to get to the bottom of this. And she has made it clear, and Donald Trump has made it clear, that their only intention around the Epstein files is to maybe prosecute, investigate their political enemies, but not get to the bottom of this. And it's a disservice to the survivors, but it's also a disservice to every American right now who is looking to see if justice is even-handed, if they're looking to see if their government will come through, irrespective of who is on the other end of the investigation.
Summer Lee represents Pittsburgh. And this is kind of, people have asked me like, hey, Steve, do you want to see the president impeached? I'd rather not, to be honest. I would rather just focus on members of the cabinet. Because I think you'll get more support in the Senate if we're talking about members of the members of the cabinet than you would the president. So I just want to remind folks again, the impeachment process. Most of you know, because again, you're the smartest chat on TikTok. Here's how it works. A member of the U.S. House introduces articles of impeachment, which are essentially formal charges. These charges, this comes from the, where is this? This is from the Brennan Center. These charges usually allege treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, language from the Constitution. The articles are typically referred to the House Judiciary Committee, but the full House can act without committee review if it chooses. The official is not impeached yet. This is the beginning of the process. The committee then may meet. They'll investigate evidence, hold hearings, call witnesses, draft or revise the articles. Those things are not necessary, but that's typically what they do. The committee then votes whether to send the articles to the full House. If they do, if they approve the articles from the committee, it goes to the floor for a House vote. If they reject, the process ends unless it comes up for review later. This is similar to an indictment in criminal law, not removal yet. If that happens, simple majority, 50+1, that person is impeached. So there's two steps of the process. I know our friends on the right don't necessarily understand this. There are two steps. If it passes with 50%+1 in the House, you are impeached. It's congressionally appointed. It's in the congressional record permanently. Donald Trump is a twice impeached, 4-time indicted, convicted felon, fraudster, name on a list predator, racist, etc. In the Senate, then there becomes a trial. Remember, this is not a legal proceeding. It is strictly a political proceeding. Senators act as jurors, although they don't really. House members serve as prosecutors, House managers, right? So people from the House, there's a lot of lawyers in the House of Representatives. What ends up happening is that I'm not sure if it's Hakeem Jeffries or whomever it is that appoints them. They become whoever the majority leader is going to take a. Let me back up a second. For this to happen, Democrats are going to have to take the majority. So whoever the Speaker of the House is then would assign these House managers. They become the prosecutors, if you will, try to make their case. The senators act as jurors once it hits the Senate. The impeached official has defense attorneys. If the president is impeached, the trial is presided over by the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice. So it'd be John Roberts in this case. It requires 2/3 majority of senators present to convict. If convicted, the official is removed from office immediately. Senate may also vote to bar them from holding future federal office. If acquitted, the official remains in office. So again, here's the flow chart. Articles introduced, committee review. If the House majority, yes, officials impeached. If the House majority, no, it pauses right there. Senate trial, 2/3 yes, removed from office, less than 2/3 remains in office. So that's kind of how the process works. So if we go back to the second Trump impeachment, Republican senators had the opportunity to officially vote to keep him from running from office again, and they didn't. So there's blood on their hands, right? And they didn't do it. So I don't want, personally, maybe other people may disagree, I would rather focus on cabinet members. I'd rather focus on, Pete Hegseth and JD Vance, or not JD, it'd be difficult because of the line of succession. Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Howard Nutlick, those guys. That's who I'd rather see them focus their energies on. So be prepared for that. So the legislative agenda of the president is going to stop. Article 2, Section 4, you're right. The legislative agenda is going to stop. Mike Johnson famously just yesterday after the State of the Union said, listen, if we don't maintain the majority in the House, then President Trump's agenda is going to stop. Don't threaten me with a good time. Stephen Miller, although is he in an impeachable position? I'm going to have to look into that. I'm not sure if he's actually, because he's not a cabinet member. He's an advisor. I don't know. Tiff, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think he's not eligible for impeachment. He's eligible for a blanket party, right? Put a blanket over his head, take him out back and put quarters in a sock and beat his ass. I'd support that. So that's what's coming. So Summer Lee introducing articles of impeachment against Pam Bondi. Would expect those today. So at 11 o'clock Eastern time, Hillary Clinton will be testifying before Congress. We know that to be true. And what else do I have here? Got a bunch of other things I want to share with you guys. Let's talk about this first, because this is going to lead me to another story that we have to discuss, because again, these are the things that we're fighting for. So in Idaho City Council has voted to remove Juneteenth as an official holiday and then restore Columbus Day instead. I lived in Idaho for a while. I worked at a radio station out there years ago in Lewiston. Idaho is a very highly populated militia headquarters. So this is, the white people on the panel here making the case that we shouldn't celebrate Juneteenth. Here you go.
The list of city holidays and restoring Columbus Day, which I believe is a more appropriate holiday honoring our American heritage.
I move to approve the amendment to the personnel policy and holiday schedule.
Second. A motion in multiple seconds. Further discussion?
I do have one comment on it.
Oh, sorry.
Juneteenth celebrates the actual end of slavery in the United States. And the abolition of slavery, I believe, is one of the crowning achievements of Western civilization and is certainly worthy of celebration. On the flip side, North America, as we know it, in the United States entirely would not exist if it were not for the expeditions of Christopher Columbus and other European explorers, which are also worth celebrating. So I don't know if you consider doing an every other year type of thing, but I think both are very relevant to our history and worth celebrating.
I don't want to change the holiday schedule up. I think that's a lot of complexity. My own view is that Juneteenth is something that nobody had heard of until 5 years ago and was pushed for political purposes. And so I'm not in favor of having that in.
Wow. My guy, we've all known about Juneteenth for a very long time. You, with your fucking ironed hood, may not have heard about it, but we have. So there's that. Idaho City. Anybody in the chat today that lives in Idaho City, Idaho? Anybody? Did you know that that's happening in your town? Okay. Consider yourself informed. Now, there's an interesting story. This is one of those stories that I think goes underreported. I'm a big fan of The Wired. I've been following The Wired. I've subscribed to their channel, and they do really good journalistic work. They don't do a lot, but when they find a story, they fucking dig in like crazy. So, buckle up, since we just segued into racism, because that's necessary, because we still are fighting for humanity. A White House staffer appears to run a massive pro-Trump X account. A popular right-wing account that called a video depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as apes a masterpiece appears to be run by a White House staffer, according to records reviewed by Wired. Hours after an ICE agent shot and unalived Renee Good in Minneapolis, the Trump administration was already working to shape the narrative. Official White House accounts flooded social media with clips of burning flags and clashes between locals and federal immigration agents, casting protesters, not the killing, as the story. Among the accounts amplifying that message was Johnny MAGA. I follow that account. I had been following before this story just because I like to kind of peek in on what's happening in right-wing spaces, right? It is as you would think it is. 300,000 followers, just a bunch of fucking hate. The pro-Trump account, again called Johnny MAGA, with nearly 300,000 followers. Quote, "They're burning the American flag right now in Minneapolis." The anonymous account claimed sharing a clip from the White House's official rapid response feed, and they really expect you to believe that ICE shot an innocent civilian, is the quote. Okay. To its audience, Johnny MAGA looked like an independent voice, another outraged supporter in the MAGA media ecosystem. The account regularly boosts Trump's Truth Social posts and goes to bat for the administration attacking Democrats like California Governor Gavin Newsom. But this isn't just a regular account. Johnny MAGA appears to actually be a White House staffer named Garrett Wade, who works for the Trump administration as a rapid response manager, helping to run the very same White House account his anonymous MAGA account amplifies. Phone number associated with Wade is MAGA, according to a wide review of publicly available records, and the was confirmed by a source close to the White House. Wade and the White House did not respond to requests for comment. Geez, I wonder why. The Johnny MAGA account was created in September of 2021, according to its X profile. It originally used a different handle, which referenced Wade's birth year, according to records reviewed by Wired. While the account's earliest available post focused on NFTs, it has been a consistent pro-Trump presence since at least early 2022. The operator of the Johnny MAGA account has not disclosed an official relationship with the White House while operating the Johnny MAGA X account. Multiple media outlets, however, including Mother Jones, Town Hall, and the New York Post, have all linked out to the post on the Johnny MAGA account, seemingly as organic reflections of public sentiment on political issues. Since Trump took office last year, the Johnny MAGA account has supported the administration priorities like immigration enforcement and allies like Turning Point. After Trump posted a racist AI, by the way, MAGA, it is racist. The president is a racist. Let me say that again. Donald Trump is a fucking racist. Do you mean to say that slower? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, is a fucking racist. Cool. After Trump posted a racist AI-generated video depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as apes earlier this month, The Johnny MAGA account boosted the White House's claim that the president didn't watch the entire video, posting, quote, "The most obvious tell that Trump's True Social post wasn't intentional is that he would have posted the entire thing if he had seen it. It's a masterpiece." Wow. It's a masterpiece. The White House, a Johnny MAGA, 300,000 followers on X, who shares Trump's True Social posts a lot, calls the post depicting Barack and Michelle as apes, calls that a masterpiece. That dude is a White House employee in the Trump administration. But nothing to see here. Journalism, friends. While the Trump administration has long cultivated a growing cast of conservative creators to spread its message online, a White House staffer moonlighting as an anonymous MAGA influencer would blur the already hazy line further, making it nearly impossible to distinguish between official government messaging and what appears to be organic digital support. This lack of disclosure risks undermining public trust. Disinformation researchers suggest, quote, "People have a right to know who is trying to manipulate public opinion. And they have a right to know whether or not they're experiencing astroturf politics," says Samuel Woolley, a University of Pittsburgh professor who studies disinformation and media ethics. This lack of transparency and the conflict of interest surrounding this account and the lack of disclosures all amount to a breach of public trust. I'll remind you again that every single day we are told by Triple K Caroline that this administration is the most transparent in history. Okay. Just to make sure, just want to make sure I clear that up. Hang on one second. All right. So if it's true, then shouldn't that staffer be fired? Why has there been no terminations? Interesting. There is very little public information online about Wade, but Federal Election Commission records link him to former White House senior comms leadership. Donations from 2023 through WinRed made a WinRed is the right wing, it's the conservative response to Act Blue. Donations from 2023 through WinRed made by a Garrett Wade from suburban Philadelphia, where Wade graduated high school, list his employers as Tech School in March of 2023 and in December that year as Opinion Architects, a digital consultancy group. The donations also list Wade as residing in the Bucks County area of Pennsylvania, where he previously lived. According to public records, the phone number associated with Wade and with Johnny MAGA, who in the past has listed his locations as Philadelphia, is also geolocated to the Bucks, Pennsylvania area. So this guy is behind the post. This guy is the dude who said it was a masterpiece. But again, the Logan Act, sure, Laverne, probably violates the Logan Act and a whole bunch of other shit. Will this person be fired? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Okay.
Always believed it.
Sorry, Dolly. Appreciate you. Didn't mean to have you queued up there, Dolly. All right, now I want to talk a little bit more because we're going to get into the Epstein files a little bit. We'll spend a little bit of time just kind of talking about the New York Times story, because as a reminder, again, it is the 69th day that the federal government, the Pedo Protector Patrol, has violated federal law. Hello, Dolly. Yes, good call. The FBI has fired an agent who worked on the Trump classified document investigation, AP sources have said. The FBI has fired additional agents who worked on an investigation into President Trump, this time terminating employees who participated into the probe into the Republicans' hoarding of classified documents, people familiar with the matter said Wednesday. So they're firing people who investigated the president breaking federal law. What? The firings are part of a broader personnel purge under Cash. You guys know Cash Patel, right? The guy who's been working hard working hard for Americans. You know, the guy who's out there trying to root out evil. The guy who's trying to track down predators. You know, the guy who says that America is his duty to make sure he's protect. Oh, wait. Right. That guy. That guy. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, good to know. Leadership. The firings are part of a broader personnel purge under Cash, a Trump appointee who over the last year has pushed out dozens of employees who either contributed to investigation of the president or who were perceived as not in alignment with the administration's agenda. The Justice Department has engaged in similarly sweeping firings of prosecutors since Trump took office last year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is fascism. Okay, that's what this is, right? You have an investigative body whose job it is to investigate criminality. The Department of Justice, right? It's an executive branch function, but it also investigates people within its own branch, right? That's what the job is. So instead of actually investigating, what they're doing is anybody who's done their job as an investigator, they got fired. But the deep state is on the left? What? Huh? All right. The FBI Agents Association condemned the firing as unlawful and endangering national security. Quote, these actions weaken the Bureau by stripping away critical expertise and destabilizing the workforce, undermining trust in leadership and jeopardizing the Bureau's ability to meet its recruitment goals, ultimately putting the nation at greater risk, the association said in a statement. The latest round of terminations included employees who helped investigate Trump's retention of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago resort, a case that involved a high-profile FBI search. And by the way, MAGA, this was a judicial warrant that the FBI got from a judge. Legal warrant, like a judicial warrant, which allowed them to enter someone's home, signed by a judge. Not an administrative warrant signed on a napkin by some chuckle fuck in DHS. This is how you go through the legal system. You go to a judge and say, listen, here's the goods. We believe, based on what we see here, that there is reason for us to go and further investigate. So the judge said, yes, we agree. We agree. Just like the warrant that they had when they went to Joseph Biden's garage. Yeah, and Jeff, what did they find there, Jeff? Do you remember? What did they find there, Jeff? It's a good point. What did they find? And what did the investigators say, Jeff? So let's pull on that thread, Jeff. What did the investigators find? And what did they say, more importantly? Yeah. So you weren't here for yesterday's show, because if you were, you would know, because I did the breakdown for you. Really? Well, again, but Jeff, what did they say in the investigation? Jeff, are you aware? Do you know what they said? Do you know what the special counsel said in the investigation, Jeff? Are you aware of that? If you don't know, just say, I don't know. Because I can give you an opportunity. I can learn you. I can teach you something. Probably don't want to know that, though, do you? Yeah. You know what? Because you guys are the smartest chat on TikTok, let's just take a little pause real quick and just go through that record. Because I think it's going to be fascinating for Jeff to learn something here. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I can. Give me a second. I used to have that bookmarked. I don't have it now. All right. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. So Jeff, I'm doing this in question. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you specifically, all right? Because I'm a giver. And I want to make sure that you understand that we are here to satisfy the itch of people who don't understand what's happening. So, Jeff, listen. I will, Jeff. I will. So this is from the Hur report. You know, Robert Hur, special counsel, appointed just the same way that Bob Mueller was and that Jack Smith was. So on the Her report, which is a 388-page document, on page 15, they talk about the principles. Let me just expand this a little bit here. Hold on. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I have to make it bigger because my eyes are bad. Where is it? This is the section called the Principles of Federal Prosecution. We have also evaluated all relevant considerations in aggravation and mitigation as outlined in the Justice Manual and determined that on balance, these factors do not support prosecution of Mr. Biden. Historically, after leaving office, many former presidents and vice presidents have knowingly taken home sensitive materials related to national security from their administration without being charged with a crime. This historical record is important context for judging whether and why to charge a former vice president and former president, as Mr. Biden would be when susceptible to prosecution for similar actions taken by several of his predecessors. Now, Jeff, I need you to sit down for this part and listen. My fear is you're going to run away. So maybe you can learn something, but maybe tell your friends, because this is really, really important. With one exception, there is no record of the Department of Justice prosecuting a former president or vice president for mishandling classified documents from his own administration. The exception is, wait for it. The exception is, wait for it. Former President Trump. It is not our role to assess the criminal charges pending against Mr. Trump, but several material distinctions between Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden's cases are clear. Unlike the evidence involving Mr. Biden, the allegations set forth in the indictment of Mr. Trump, if proven, would present serious aggravating factors. Most notably, after being given multiple chances to return classified documents and avoid prosecution, Mr. Trump allegedly did the opposite. According to the indictment, he not only refused to return the documents for many months, but he also obstructed justice by enlisting others to destroy evidence and then to lie about it. In contrast, Mr. Biden turned in classified documents to the National Archives, and the Department of Justice consented to the search of multiple locations, including his homes, sat for a voluntary interview, and in other ways cooperated with the investigation. In reaching our decision, we did not consider every circumstance in which criminal charges against a former president or vice president for mishandling classified information may be warranted. But on the facts of this case, the fundamental interests of society do not require criminal charges against Mr. Biden. For this additional reason, applying the principles of federal prosecution set forth in this manual, we decline to prosecute. Jeff, did you catch that? Did you catch that, Jeff? Did you catch all that? Because Robert Hur was the guy. I know Jeff's long gone. Robert Hur was the guy who was assigned to investigate Joe Biden. So what did you learn, Jeff? What did you learn? Did you know that, Jeff? Did you learn that lesson yet? Did you try to say, what about Biden? What about Biden? He had documents too. Did you learn anything? Maybe. Maybe not. There's hope. There's hope. Thank you, Sanjay. Anyway, I digress. That's the first time you've heard that? Really? So what do you want to say about it then? I'm going to invite you up, Jeff. Let's see if we can have a conversation. Just invited you up. Take the invite. What did you learn?
I did learn from what you just read. Basically, they're saying that Biden went ahead and consented to all search and did the interview, and Trump did not.
Correct. So are they the same thing?
No.
So then, should Donald Trump have gotten away with that crime?
I don't know that they could have prosecuted him on that. I mean, they could have, and I don't know why.
They were trying. Do you know what happened? They were trying. Do you know what happened?
Tell me what happened.
Aileen Cannon. That's what happened. Do you know who she is?
No, sir.
She's a judge in Florida that oversaw his case. A judge, by the way, that was appointed by Donald Trump.
Ah. That would do it for
weird?
him.
You think that's weird?
Well, no, I don't think it's weird. I think it's kind of typical, right? I mean, we get judges appointed by presidents all the time. I mean, I'm sure there's still some Obama judges out there.
Right, but she made this case go away. She's the one that stopped it. She's the one that even just a couple days ago said that she does not want the follow-up report that Jack Smith submitted identifying his crimes. She doesn't want that to go public. Why would that be, you think, Jeff?
I'm sure it would prove that that he knowingly kept those files.
He did. He did knowingly keep the files. We have the evidence is overwhelming. If that case had gone to trial, he would have been convicted. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
They got him dead to rights because he lied. Did you vote for him?
Yep.
Why?
For the economy, mainly.
So how'd that work? How's that working out for you?
It's actually done really well. Thank you very much.
For you?
For me, yes. For me, it has.
So,
yes.
But what about other people?
Maybe not so much. I mean, there's some people out there that are probably hurting still, and I would say I think that's a drag over though.
Your vote, though.
Yes, I think that's the drag over though from the Biden inflation, right? I mean, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault that the inflation went up. It was how it was created, right? And
how was
so
it created?
You know, when the stimulus checks that went out during COVID, when they shut down the country.
So are you saying government spending is the reason?
Yes. I think anytime you put that much government spending into the economy, you're going to get the prices to go up everywhere. I mean,
right.
Over 9%, right? We all know that.
Sure. So I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. So you're saying that government spending is the reason that we had inflation?
Yeah, I think we overspent during that time. We sent out tons of stimulus checks to keep everybody afloat because we shut down the country because of the pandemic.
So, but Trump spent more, Jeff.
More before the pandemic or after the pandemic?
Both, before and during. Don't forget, because the pandemic hit our shores in 2020, which means he spent money. So Joe Biden spent less than. So again, just be consistent, right? Just be consistent.
Well, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think obviously the spending went different places and affected the economy differently. I mean, when you drop tons of money into the U.S. citizens' pockets with nothing behind that. Now, if you were to put that into military, obviously you're buying products, right?
Wait. With nothing behind it, like what? So let's be consistent here. Let's see if you can be the one MAGA who is consistent. Your claim was government spending is what led to inflation. Donald Trump spent more in his 4 years than Joe Biden did. Even if you take COVID spending out for both, he still spent more. So then with your math, is Donald Trump then not responsible for inflation?
It depends on where the spending was done again, right? I mean,
Trump sent out stimulus checks. He gave us two.
Why did we get inflation?
I'm asking you. You're the one that made the claim, not me. Well, you're the one that said it was because of government spending, right?
I believe the stimulus checks, when we cranked up the presses and threw out all those checks, that actually.
So Trump again. He sent out two checks.
He sent out two checks. So did Biden as well.
Well, again, but who spent more?
Well, you're saying Trump did, so I'll give you that.
He did.
Trump spent more.
He did.
So are you saying that it was Trump that caused the inflation?
You're the one that made the claim, bro. You're the one that said all the government spending. Well, you're the one that made the claim, Jeff.
I think the spending went other places as well.
I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff, just let's go back. Let's rewind a second, okay? Let's rewind a second. I asked you specifically. You talked about the reason we had high inflation was because of government spending. Then I reiterated. I said, so you are saying that government spending was the cause of inflation. You agreed. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
So if Trump spent more, including 2 stimulus checks that he sent out, then wouldn't logic then tell you, based on your own argument, that Trump was the leading cause of inflation?
He probably more than likely started it, yes.
Okay, so then if you voted for him because of the economy and you were concerned about government spending, then why the fuck did you vote for him again?
Because the economy is doing well for me in other sectors and things that benefit me.
So benefit you. So basically, what you're saying is that you're selfish.
Well, I think we all are. Human
I'm not.
Natures, we're all selfish.
Yeah, but you're admitting here in front of 1,200 people that you just voted for yourself.
Right. I think a lot of us do. I think a lot of us vote for our own
we're talking
thoughts.
we're talking about you. I don't vote for myself.
If we were to look at all 1,200, if you were to ask all 1,200, hey, did you vote for yourself or did you vote for everybody else?
Okay, let's do an experiment. 1,200 people in chat. So put a 1 in the chat, friends, if you voted for other people. Watch what happens here, Jeff. Just watch what happens.
There's 1, 2.
No, there's a lot of 1s, Jeff. There's a lot.
Well,
there's a ton.
Just because one person puts a bunch of 1s out there doesn't mean that's 1.
No, it's not just one person.
I see your little counter now. I see your little counter.
So this is an indicator, Jeff. Right? 435 people. These are individual people who sent these things. This is an indicator. So what do you do for
I do pest control.
You do pest control. Do you make $400,000 a year?
No, sir.
Okay. So your vote harmed people.
In what way?
Okay. So are you okay with, hang on one second. Are you okay with rights of American citizens being violated?
Rights of American citizens being violated. And how were they being violated?
I'll get to that in a second. I'm asking if you're okay with that.
Well, no, of course not.
Okay. So when we think about the situation that happened with Renee Good and with Alex Preddy, for example, their rights were violated, so much so that they lost their lives.
So you're arguing that when Renee tried to run over the ICE officer,
she didn't though, but she didn't.
She didn't though. Well, that's been still argued, right? I mean, let's be honest. There's people that can argue.
Well, Jeff, she didn't. You know the reason. You know how we know that she didn't?
I mean, tell me what your thought is on it.
Well, we know. We know for a fact because if you look at the, all you have to do is look at the video. I don't want to debate.
I'm
not going to go back in time. I'm not going to go back in time and debate that. All you got to do is look at the video. It's brutally obvious. But there's a couple of things that I want to tell you that about this situation. Why did Kristi Noem come out an hour later and call Renee Good a domestic terrorist?
You know, I didn't. Well, I think maybe she was fed up at that point because of the protests that have been going on, not letting ICE actually do their job.
Which again goes to what I was discussing earlier with you about how there are rights being violated because constitutionally we have a right to protest, right?
We do have a right to protest, but wouldn't we also go back and look at all the previous presidents and all the ICE deportations and say 0 riots, 0 protesters?
Wonder why though? Why do you think that is? Let's talk about that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that there were no riots under the Biden administration and or the first Trump administration or Obama or Clinton or Bush? Why do you think that was?
And we know that more livings actually happened during the Obama ICE deportations.
It's not true because don't forget Obama was that's not true because Obama was president for 8 years.
8 years.
Answer my question. Yeah. So answer my question. Answer my question. Why do you think that there was no rioting in the street during ICE deportations? Why do you think that is?
Well, the talking point for the left is that
I'm not asking them for the talking point, Jeff.
well, because that's what it comes out to.
Well, because Jeff, I'm not asking you, Jeff. Hold on. I'm not asking you for the talking point. I'm asking you why you think there was no rioting, because you brought it up. I'm asking you why you think that there was no rioting under previous administrations.
I think people weren't that engaged in it. They didn't care that immigrants were being deported.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that during previous administrations there were not armed and masked thugs roaming the streets of American cities? Do you think it has anything to do with it?
Well, I think that ended up becoming an issue when the protesters started as well.
That's not the question I asked, Jeff. Let's stay on topic. I'm not gonna let you pivot away from this. It's a simple question. Do you think has it anything to do with the fact that people were masked? Like, do police officers wear masks?
No.
Do judges wear masks?
No. So
do lawyers wear? Wait a minute. Do lawyers wear masks?
No.
Okay. So why then do federal law enforcement agents get to wear masks?
I don't know. At the time, they were claiming that it was protecting their family and their identity so that people wouldn't go to their homes and it literally cause harm to them.
Judges? Judges?
Like that's
lawyers,
happened. Yeah, that's happened in the past. Oh, that's happened in the past. We've had a few judges have people come to Supreme Court, right?
Right. But they don't wear masks, do they?
No, they don't wear masks, but they have to defend themselves.
So what? Okay, but that's not the question, though. But so why are federal law enforcement officers wearing masks?
But you care about other people. Wouldn't you care about those people as well?
Jeff, I'm asking you, why are they wearing masks? Because the argument that you made is that why were people not protesting before? And I'll tell you, it's because we have a system in our country where law enforcement has to be above, they're not above the law. They have to follow the law. So police officers, state troopers, sheriff's department employees, other federal agencies, members of the FBI, none of them wear masks. Their families could be exposed. Their lives could be threatened. So why is it that ICE in particular is wearing masks? Can you try to answer that question, please?
That's the only thing I can figure is they didn't want to be identified so that their families would be safe.
So then can you understand why people are protesting?
So if they take off their masks, all the protests would stop?
That would certainly help. Body cameras, that would certainly help.
I agree. Body cameras they should have been wearing body cameras from the beginning.
Well, I mean, again, shouldn't that be something that we should talk about?
Well, I think it should be talked about. Yes, I don't know why that.
So then, why is it not happening though?
People.
So again, Jeff, let's go back to the question that you made. Why were people not protesting? People were not protesting because, first of all, civil rights and constitutional rights were not being violated, and there wasn't a bunch of untrained, undertrained. We don't even know who some of these people are. There's reporting, Jeff.
True.
The members of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers are now part of ICE.
I think that's stretching it a little bit, but I agree with what you're saying. They're undertrained. Well, how do you know they are?
I said, did I make the claim, or did I say that there's reporting?
You just said there've been reporting. So really, is it worth bringing up?
Well, again, Jeff,
until you got facts, because you're the man that spills facts.
But Jeff, what did I say? I said there's been reporting that members of Proud Boys and Oath Keepers are part of ICE. It's hard to tell when they're masked, right?
Right. And I agree. And I agreed with you. I think they should demask.
Okay. So then again, back to the conversation about how rights are being violated. So this is, again, if you believe in, we sort of unpacked the inflation argument a little bit. I explained to you the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. We had the January 6th situation where there was crimes committed there, everything else. So you had all that information. You had all that information leading up to the 2024 election, and yet you still voted for Trump.
So let me, you brought up January 6th. Do you believe there was 275 FBI agents in that crowd as well?
You got a violation, Jeff. I have to remove you. Sorry. Yeah. sometimes I feel like I'm dying. No hope. Good day, my friend.
Hello, you beautiful man, you. Two things. One, interesting point I just thought of. Interesting point I just thought of last night. If the left is so violent and all of these ICE agents and whatnot are under threat, where are the reports of ICE agents being attacked in their homes and killed in the streets?
It's a really good question, Hector. That's a really, really good question.
I'm going to help you guys out. There hasn't been one. Yes, have there been some injuries on duty when they're assaulting people? Sure. But in regards to this threat to their lives and their families, there isn't one report. And I encourage you to go look this up yourself. But we do have several reports, 3 specifically that are permanently gone. Others who were, I always go to maimed, handicapped. There's a 21-year-old in California permanently blinded in one eye because an ICE agent pepper bullet straight to the face. Shrapnel all over his face, was under the knife for hours to get everything out. One went close to his heart and almost took him out. As if ICE agents, or any officer for that matter, is supposed to shoot at your face unless you're a particular threat in a particular scenario. We have other individuals who are wrongfully detained. Their lawyers can't see them, their family can't see them. Come to find out their documents are real, they're American citizens. We have those reports, but nothing else. Second thing, in regards to the festival on January 6, 2021, have to be careful about that one. Do you guys forget that Donald Trump at that time would have been over the FBI? Like, that would have technically been Donald Trump's FBI, and that claim is incorrect in regards to the 3 that were particularly on duty in the Capitol and the others that was in the crowd, as they usually are per any event at the Capitol. Not a conspiracy at all. Do better, y'all.
Jesus. I think that's going to be the background going forward. Do better, y'all. That's fucking true. Hey, I'm glad you're here. By the way, any updates on? I know the looks like early voting is really cranking. I think the gap between Democrat Republican votes is getting wider. Anything you want to report? Anything that you know, or if you hear, feel free. Inform us, please.
Absolutely. I can obviously more specifically speak on Texas, but I believe other friends in other states have similar reports that Democratic turnout, specifically in Texas, is super impressive, considering that we had 3 million more registered Democrats who just don't show up for previous elections. And they've been turning out. Early voting's had some of the highest records in the last few decades. It's looking very promising for either candidate. Obviously, you guys know my pick is Jasmine Crockett, but we're better off either way. So things are looking very, very, very good in that regard. I'm in an unfortunate situation where, because of the timeline of when I moved and whatnot, I actually have to go drive back to Austin, Texas. I'm in Dallas now tomorrow. I had to spend 8 hours on the road driving back to go vote in that county because I can't update my address now. So that's going to be a pain in the butt, but I'm taking this seriously. So I'm going to make the drive proudly to vote for her. Across the state, we just had a special election, State of the Union. I'm trying to remember the state of it was in, but we just had a special election won by a Democrat there. So
That's Pennsylvania, I think. Maybe?
Yes, we are kicking their asses. Like, don't let everything happening around you get you down. Obviously, feel how you feel about it. It's a lot, but we are kicking their asses right now, objectively. And I am super excited about that. Not because it's a stick it to you thing, but because we can get some accountability soon.
Isn't it Harris County where Houston is, Hector? Is that right?
Houston is, I believe, Harris. Dallas is, what is Dallas? I just moved there. I still don't know the area. Something like that. And then Austin would be Travis.
Yes. So was it? I think it was Harris County that had all kinds of Ken Paxton fucking bullshit, right, in the last election, right? Where he was, I use your line a lot. Texas is not a voter registration issue; it's a voter suppression issue, and we saw that a lot in Houston, right? Am I mixing things up? That was right.
No,
didn't that happen?
No,
something like
you
that.
have it. That is correct. And currently what it's looking like right now, funny enough, on the Republican side, and this is just my opinion, I can somewhat substantiate, Ken Paxton is basically neck and neck with John Cornyn, which in my opinion is a good thing on the Republican side, because I think it would be infinitely easier to beat him versus John Cornyn, who has the backing of Greg Abbott and a lot more money. So that would actually be a favor for us if he's the one who ends up going to the general election against either candidate, for that matter, Tallarico or Crockett. So that's a good thing. Very good thing. But yes, your final days to vote early is going to be today and tomorrow. If you're in the state of Texas, these are your last 2 days. Get it done.
So friends in Texas, Hector's driving 8 fucking hours tomorrow to get it done. So I think, can you all please be Hector? Okay, tomorrow, between today and tomorrow, be Hector. We were Eli earlier today. Now we're Hector. Be Hector.
Those are all great mottos. Yeah. All great mottos. And ultimately, this all falls back into the background. Do something. In which case, that's exactly what Eli was doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. So now I will say, whatever you do, be facts still matter.
Appreciate you, my friend. You going live today? What's going on? You and Erica? It was one of the days. Is this the facts and whatever show you do? I love that.
That was yesterday. Yes, that was yesterday. We had a great show. Erica will be live at noon, actually. So within about 2 hours, I'll be co-hosting with her, and then I'll be going live after her because I got to get this backup built up. I got a ban. I was talking about the island, man. They didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know how we're up some days, to be honest. I don't know how we make it through our shows these days, but I guess I'll take it. I'll ride the wave as long as I can. I thank you, my friend. I appreciate you being here. If you guys don't follow Hector, this is your backup. I'm not following it, but I am now. Yes, everybody follow Hector's backup, please.
All right, final thing, and I'll make this really quickly.
Do the stuff.
Steven is up here every morning doing the things, and he's trying to do more. I would strongly suggest, I would highly encourage, I would put my slick milk dud head on the fact that you guys should be doing everything in your power to push this man out in the algorithm. You should be doing everything in your power to support the Do Something tour, which is coming very soon. So I know you see the goal. If you have something, do something. Check out the links in the bio. We got to get this man out there. Thank you so much, Max.
You're a good man, my brother. Talk to you later. Peace.
All right, bye.
Good man right there. Be Hector. He's driving 8 fucking hours. All right. Please just, again, we're so close, you guys. We're so close. They're scared. They're afraid of women. We know that. They're afraid of Hector's community. They're afraid of the marginalized groups across the country. They're scared, which is why they want to lie to you about the SAVE Act, which is why they want to lie to you about fraud in Minnesota. They are terrified. Give them a reason to be. Please, 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 please. Appreciate you, Hector, as always. Good man right there. Milk Dud Head. I'll remember that. Let's see. Gumdrop, how are you today?
I'm okay. I guess that was a mistake. But hi, Steve.
Hi. Didn't want to request?
No. But happy Thursday. Thank you. Love you.
You too. Love it too. Bye. Jeff, no, we're not saying, Jesus Christ. Jeff, no one is saying that there wasn't fraud in Minnesota. What we're saying is what's turned into an investigation that was already happening, turned into racism, going after the Somali community. Because, Jeff, I would ask you the same question that I ask everybody. If you are so concerned with fraud, then why are you voting Republican? Because your president is suing the IRS, your money, for $10 billion with a B, Jeff. Your money, because he didn't like the fact that somebody leaked his tax returns. Well, guess what? If he had just turned them in or turned them over like he was supposed to, it wouldn't have been an issue. You don't care about fraud, Jeff. You don't care about fraud. If you did, then you would never vote Republican. Plain and fucking simple. Do better. Do better, y'all. Do better. Man. Del Rey, how are you today? Del Rey, are you there? I guess not. I've got one more request, I think. And then we'll probably wrap. We are not Jeff, exactly. Hello, user.
Oh, hi. This is a Canadian calling from Vancouver. More of a statement. It's just we feel like we're living next door to the Twilight Zone, as I'm sure you guys feel the same. It's just shocking that there's so many Americans that voted for Trump, as we all knew in Canada decades before 2016. The guy was a corrupt serial liar. So it's shocking that not enough people knew this, or that the system allows for someone like that to even run.
Yeah.
It's like it's just you can't wrap your head around it.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
just feel really, really sad for our American cousins, and we're hoping for the best in November for you guys.
Thank you. Keep your faith. Although we should talk at some point about the Canadian curling cheating controversy, because the way we look at it, if we can't trust Canadians, then we're all fucked. Like I don't know what's gonna happen.
That was really odd.
It was odd.
I know.
Thank you for being here.
Okay,
I appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
You too. Bye.
Seriously though, like if we can't trust the Canadians, and by the way, I'm just gonna say, the Canadian guy who got caught cheating had really long fingers. Really, really long fingers. He probably has a career after curling. I'm just saying, I'm just observing. I'm a man of the people. I have to inform my audience of what I noticed. I'm just saying. By the way, Sam, thank you for posting this. There's a post from a person on X. They're called the Persistence. They are obviously a Republican leaner. It says, not good. We're getting crushed in Texas as Democrats expand their early voting lead. Pass the SAVE Act, America, or lose big this November. The delta is 136,000 more early votes for Democrats. Yeah, there's that. Thanks, Sam, for posting that. Appreciate it.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm okay. I know it's the end of the show. I just wanted to give good news.
Okay, go for it.
Everybody, I came on a while back and said Mavis, my granddaughter, was having surgery. Surgery went well. Everything went great. She's an epileptic, so we were concerned about seizures. With the anesthesia, no seizures. And they had told us she was going to have to spend the night, and they sent her home. So she's doing great. And they just told us to watch for seizures. But I love my family here, and I wanted everybody to know.
We appreciate you. That's great news. What a great way to wrap today. What an amazing way to wrap. Thank you for sharing that story with us, friend. You know how much we love you.
I love you guys. Thanks.
You got it. Talk to you later. All right. Be safe out there. That's wonderful news. And then we will wrap. Brooke, one of our amazing mods, this is the quote of the day. In a world full of Jeffs, be a Hector or an Eli. Dropping of the mic. We are going to wrap today. I think, mods, I think Smitty is live. I'd love to send folks over there because Nichelle, who was on our panel a while ago, or earlier to start the show, who's an amazing woman. I love talking to her. She's usually on Smitty's panel. I love Smitty. He's incredible. Please head on over there. And white folks, maybe just sit and listen a little bit. Maybe try to understand how the conversation goes. Maybe learn something. You don't necessarily have to comment. You don't have to request up. You don't have to center yourself. You can just be there and listen. That's how I've learned. So take it from someone who's spent the time trying to learn. I appreciate you all very, very much. We are going to go raid Smitty. He isn't live? Oh, Smitty's not live. Is he not live? Is Santana? Did I hear somebody say that? Can you guys, mods, can you guys confirm for me? Is Smitty and or Santana live currently? I'm assuming Santana probably is because he's usually live right after. He is live. I don't know. Let's see. Hang on a second. Santana, I'm just checking. Yes, Santana is. Don't see Smitty. Santana. Got it. Okay, we're going to go raid Santana. Please tell him that we said hello. Another dude who's doing the fucking work out there. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. And thank you, Eli, for your amazing heart. And we see you. You are gum on our shoe now, whether you like it or not. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Time for Free Speech Friday, friends. That's tomorrow, okay? Again, there's always something to do, people.